night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke. Your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause I'm there for you.
The whole system is designed to disconnect you from your intuition. Why? Disconnected people are easy to manipulate. Everything from sunscreen to politics to the food industry. It's all designed to disconnect and manipulate you. We are in the middle of a war right now, but it's not a traditional war. It's a war on consciousness. It's a war on freedom. This is the time to listen, not to the news. No, your intuition, your gut, your heart. Love is the greatest weapon against darkness. How do you love more? You begin by loving yourself. How do you love yourself? You listen to the messages your body is telling you.
Nobody is coming to save you. Get up. Be your own hero.
Slaves used to work all day, every day, with no pay. But they got free food, water, and shelter. Today, we work all day, nearly every day, and we get paid. But the money we make, we spend on food, water, and shelter. We're still slaves. The only thing that has changed is the illusion of freedom.
I'm just knowing we found something so loud of the ordinary. You got me kissing the ground when you say you left.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no sweater.
I am struggling extremely with mental health issues, and I am trying to do that whilst being FTFE, and unfortunately, talking to flat earthers is quite painful.
All right, thank you, Craig.
Law. Nowhere in nature or in a controlled environment can we ever produce a volume outside of containment.
What's that?
Has gas been seen or
what's that, brother?
Esta es una historia triste la que le voy a contar. Una historia triste la que le voy a contar. No tiene doble sentido, no.
Gravy make a splash like Pippin. Shit, that's nothing. Splash.
Chicken banana, chicken banana, chicken banana, banana, banana.
I remember when I lost my mind.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you from the heart of dystopia. We've got our glasses on and we see what's going on. We can tell what's going on. D-Man, can you tell what's going on? Can you see?
Where am I? Who are you people? Where the hell am I? How did I get here?
The fuck do you people want?
I don't want a new car. Go away.
All right. Let's leave me the fuck alone. Holy crap. Boy, man. It was colder than shit today, man.
Yeah,
it was well, hell, it's 24 right now.
24, it's single digits here.
Oh shit, yeah. Oh, that reminds me, yeah. I gotta look and see where is this.
It's crazy. It's constant wind. It just doesn't stop. It's constant.
I have to ask you if you know this woman. All right. Yeah, I gotta find out if you know this woman.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, listen.
Okay, first of all, does anybody think that we're a bunch of fucking mooks? That we're stoned? That we don't know what the fuck is going on? Are you freaking kidding me over here? Look at this man's face. He fell this morning going up the stairs to go back to Florida to talk to Zelensky. Real powerful guy, huh? Because there's something wrong with him. We all know it. And now the doctor came out and apparently said it. This guy's going to come back and he's going to have the medical doctor hung. I'm telling you now. But this guy's got to fucking go because he's Batso. Do you understand what Batso means? He's out of his fucking mind. This fucking orange shredded wheat hair Mama Luke asshole.
I understood everything she said. A lot of Italian in there.
I tell you what, I've known that woman. I mean, not that her specifically, but I have known that woman for real. The woman that was our receptionist at this engineering company I worked at, she was great. And she'd just say shit exactly like that. Exactly like that, man.
That was my mom's older sister right there to a T.
Oh, perfect.
She would hold nothing back at all. Lots of swearing as she smoked. And swore.
See, this is great. This is great. We're loving to see this technology is kicking ass out there with AI, and they got these things called a mocap suit. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Well, they've had them around for quite a while. I remember, hell, I was just maybe in junior high, and they were starting to put robotics in the auto plants. And like this particular one, my dad took me into the shop and showed it to me, and they were installing it. It was a painter. It painted the car body when it came through, and they were programming it. And the guy had kind of little more primitive version of one of these mocap suits, but what he was doing is he had the paint gun, and the compressor sprayer gun. And he was going along and he'd paint that panel of the car, right, as it came by. And then they do it on the robot. And the robot was programmed with all the movements that he did, exactly where he did it and everything else, right? And it was wild because, just like as a human would do, he goes along and he does, and he missed like a little spot, and then he come back and hit it again. every one of those panels, that robot would paint it exactly the same way, miss that same spot, come back and paint it again. I mean, it was fucking identical. That's what these are, but they're really coming a long way with these things. Turned around and kicked himself right in the fucking balls. Right in the balls.
Do you think that stuff's going a little too far, though? Do you think they're kind of stretching this stuff out now to the point where, like, you could have some jackass in a basement send some robot to go and kill somebody? That's like I think. I think, like, it's kind of... I see just negative shit with that. I mean, the average jerk-off is just going to take that thing and have it go to the store and buy it a pack of cigarettes or something. You know, but then you're going to have these psychos with that shit. They're going to be, like, robot gangs and...
Wasn't it often common for the kid who, usually the one that gets picked on or teased a lot or something like that?
Yeah, that goes insane.
Or they wish they had a giant robot or a monster, a pet monster that would, vanquish his enemies and shit like that. Of course somebody's going to do that. Of course they're going to fucking do it.
You're gonna
every
find
movie they've ever made predicting about goddamn robots, that it never ends well for the humans, man.
Yeah,
never ends well. And if it does, it's like by those,
yeah. And then you're gonna end up getting these crazy simps who got like this harem of big jugged, robot women, and it's gonna be like the town freak. It's gonna be I mean, like I said, I could just see nothing but negative shit.
I am Robo Mormon.
Yeah, I can just, you know what I mean. You're gonna be like, oh, here comes the Jehovah's Witness bots again. Can just see it coming.
God dang. Well, they've gone high tech. They don't go around to the doors no more. They set up a kiosk usually in some public area, and they don't carry their little Bible with them no more either. They use the like
tablet.
An iPad. Yeah, a tablet. Then it has the New World Translation, which is what they use. And they're only allowed to go to what the hell is that thing called? JW.org. Anything else is evil from the devil except for JW. Yeah.
It'd be like, scan this QR code. For,
but wait, that's weird. Wait a second. My brother-in-law is a Jehovah's Witness, and he has a Facebook profile.
The devil.
I should ask my wife about that. Maybe they changed. Maybe they had new. They what do they call that shit? They get new inspiration or some shit like that, and that's how they get to change their rules and shit all the time.
Face witness.
They used to have a thing where they didn't have a thing against smoking when it first was with the Jehovah's Witnesses. There was Jehovah's Witnesses that were smoking out like chimneys, but now they're like, no, you can't smoke. People get pissed off.
My boss was like the cleanest. My boss when I was a kid was Jehovah's Witness. And he was like the cleanest living guy ever. He didn't swear, he didn't curse. He had 5 kids, and he was like the cleanest living dude. Didn't drink, didn't smoke. If I cursed around him, he'd give me a look.
Right.
Yeah.
I got one of the owners of the crew that I work with and shit. He's like that, and he got born again. Like. In a heavy duty way, and this is the thing people think that if you say God damn it, that's blaspheming God. I'm not damning God. It's an oath to asking God to damn something.
Yes, damn that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand how they get that. That's just
and you would never say it in a positive way. Something positive happening, you wouldn't say, God damn it. Yeah, right. It would always, when something stupid would happen, smash a foot, or the hood would drop on your hand, or you drop the wrench someplace you couldn't get it.
I mean, and I'm sure that the creator witnessing such an act, you drop a pipe wrench on your foot and go, God damn, right? That he knows that's not against him. He knows what the pain is. He fucking invented it, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, it's working. That pain thing, that was a good little instinct I put in there. It keeps him from doing shit twice a lot of times.
He'd be laughing at a lot of crap if that was the case.
Oh my
He'd be
God.
laughing at a lot of insanity.
Well, it's because people are so used to this false punishing God that they espouse in the Old Testament. I mean, there's probably like 3 or 4 different gods they're talking about in that whole fucking thing. And one's pretty goddamn wrathful, you know, just wanting to do hateful shit all the time. And, you know, who's to know? They fucked with those documents so much and redacted them. And it's about like the goddamn Epstein files at this point. You know, you don't know what's real, what's not.
Yeah.
Shit they make up. They take out Enoch because it tells the truth. And then, you know, oh, that's not canonized. What's that mean? Well, the dictator had to approve of it. Oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty holy thing to do there, dictator.
Yep.
Jeez.
Makes you wonder how many things. I mean, you know, when you think about it, it's gone through man's hands so many times that so many changes. Of course, it's going to get dictate. Of course, it's going to get manipulated through the hands of the people who decide to manipulate it.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Just like history or war or anything else. I mean, they're never going to tell you this and that and this. They're just going to try to make it so that it sounds way greater than it is to bolster, you know, you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
I mean, it's there's no doubt that we're a creation, that this is by design, by purpose and everything. But this whole idea, you know, hey, I'm going to make my, you know, I'm going to make it so that it's really difficult for you. And if you don't hang in there and you don't believe a certain thing, well, you're fucked. And so I'm thinking, you know, there's people around the world that are going to be fucked anyways, because they're like, think about the kids that are born into a family in Africa who've never heard nothing about Christianity, or the predominant religion is Islam, or the predominant religion is Shinto, or whatever. You know, they've never heard of this. I mean, Christianity to some of those people is what Shinto is to you, you know, or what one of these other, what you would consider an obscure religion. Although it's one of the 3, we consider it one of the 3 major religions in the world. It seems to be that what's demonstrated, and I believe that a tree is judged by the fruit that it produces, you know. Now, this is no way an admonishment of Jesus or any of his teachings, okay? What it is that showing that it's like a control doctrine. That's what they've turned this fucking thing into, right? And to me, what people that espouse to be Christians, a lot of them, not all of them, but a great many of them, even through their piousness, are not espousing true Christianity. In other words, you know, that it was going around really a lot a few years ago. What would Jesus do? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There's your fucking litmus test right there. There's your litmus test. So regardless of what some authority figure up behind a pulpit says, you have it right there in front of you. You have a discerning mind. You can see how Jesus was and what he stood for. Be that. That's what being a Christian is. Not going to some church or believing a certain way. You know, that this is the only way and all. No. I think there's been a lot mistranslated, man. I really do. So
I don't know. I always liked going to, I mean, I grew up with Catholicism. I always liked going to church because the building was interesting. They had a giant organ.
Yeah.
You know, and they would sing and do all the Cristo Hario. They do all that crap on Sunday morning, you know. And I always liked it.
Little thing with the incense in it.
Yeah, and the guy would walk around. Yeah, and you could go and take the communion, and they give you that like old moldy stale cracker. And
listen, if they want to bolster up some enrollment, they need to jazz up communion a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm proposing, I'm just saying, you know, it wouldn't hurt to add a little bit of cheese whiz or something to it. Maybe shots of Jack instead of that weak ass wine. You know, I'm just saying. You could probably get people in there that would want to do communion 4 and 5 times a day. You know what I mean? So I don't know, Pope. You know, listen to what I say, and if not, you know, you do what you do. You know,
I've done a lot. I've done a lot of traveling, and I can tell you now that I've been in some places in nature that were way more connected spiritually than any church I've ever been in. You know, big mountaintop and nature stuff.
I can't wait for somebody to clip that part out now and has, oh, D-Man likes big organs. Oh. So he said that they say, says, I have a big organ too, a giant organ.
They did. They had a huge, big,
those
huge,
pipe
went from the
organs
floor
are
to the ceiling.
Who makes those? Is there like a pipe organ company? If I wanted to have a pipe organ, how would I mean, I'm sure I can't go down to Grinnell's Music or something and, you know, hey, what do you have in pipe organs? You know, I'm pretty sure they don't have that. Who do you go to?
That thing was giant. It was from the floor to the ceiling.
Yeah.
It was all brass, like a brass shined up, nice.
Those ones in Germany are like that, man. They're
giant.
They're like bigger than 50-gallon drums around some of those pipes, man. They're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And some going down as small as your pinky finger.
Yep. Wild. They had a lady who looked like she was like 90 years old playing that thing. I remember seeing her when I was a little kid, and the last time I was there, probably in the 2000s, she was still playing that thing. She had to be in her 90s. You know, the church itself was built, it was all stones. And I think the church was built in like the late 1800s. It had been sitting in the same spot, you know, in the middle of town. You know, my mom was big in the church. She used to do a lot of like homeless stuff and canned things and helping people out and feeding the homeless in the wintertime and stuff. And they did all kinds of, my mom was big into the church.
Well, here's a company called Wallace Pipe Organs. Let's see what that's about. Oh, they're already made. It's like they're like from, here's one from 1852. They don't list any prices right up front. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be expensive. You know, it's kind of like if you go to a restaurant that there's no prices on the menu, the chances are it's going to be expensive, man. That's how that goes.
Do I sound okay? I'm not too loud.
Yeah,
too low.
you're fine.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Well, that's something. Well, organs for sale. David E. Wallace and Company, Limited Liability Corporation, Pipe Organ Builders. Okay, I was wrong. Hold on, let me show you this. We can get ourselves. Let's take up a collection, and we'll get us a pipe organ here.
Yeah, man.
So this one is an 1852 George Stevens pipe organ. Not quite as impressive.
That one in the middle looks more like the one that was in our church. It was huge.
Oh. Now, see, that looks like one section of the ones I've seen in those cathedrals in Europe. There's a little bitty one. Yeah, I guess you can get them for a church or something. Let's see. Can you look at it and not have to download it? Let's see. This is telling you everything about it.
They have foot pedals too, so you play with your feet and your hands. So it's like you play the bass notes on your feet, and you play the one that they had like 2-3 rows of keys. It was huge.
Says the pedal has 25 notes and 16-foot sub bass.
Yeah. Yeah, you play the bass notes on the bottom with your feet, and then you play the tops with like, it had 2 or 3. It had a little small keyboard on top because I walked over to it once and looked at it. And
so this says that it was originally built for the First Mariners Baptist Church in Boston's North End. This instrument is now understood to be the largest extent 2-manual Stevens organ. The grand instrument is a stunning example of pre-war Boston organ building. The robust scaling and expansive specification of this instrument make it an excellent candidate to support your growing music program. and there's still no price. I guess you got to get a hold of them and ask them. They say, well, how much you got? Say, how much for the organ? I don't know. How much you got? That's what they do, probably. Anyway.
Yeah, big giant ones.
So Bibi's visit to Trump, and then Trump answering questions about Iran. He said that, you know, if they're making missiles, we're going to bomb them. And if they're making nukes, then we're going to bomb them really fast. And there was Netanyahu grinning and his little rat beady eyes darting around looking at everybody. Little fucker. But Trump, he got caught whining to everybody about not getting the peace prize. He got caught on camera. Well, he ended 8 wars, but he also bombed 8 countries. So that cancels it out, doesn't it?
I would think so.
Yeah, that kind of cancels it out. All right, you entered a war. You're a good. You entered a war. Good candidate. You're in the running. You bombed somebody. That scratches that out even again.
Nothing like contradicting speech too. While you say war through peace or peace through war.
Peace through war. Peace through superior firepower.
Yeah. We stopped them. No, you didn't.
But this is amazing. This is how privileged and above everybody else he feels that he is. He got caught. He was talking, and then when he realized it, then he dismissed the press almost as if how you would treat a child that was overhearing a conversation you were having with an adult that you didn't want them to hear. Right? This guy. Oh. Starting to understand why so many people really hated him so bad. Oh, wait. What did I do here? Okay, wait. I know what I done.
Do they really eat anything when they go to those things? I would. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you something. Would you feel confident sitting with somebody like in that kind of scenario when you go to another country? Would you eat anything that anybody gave you, even if it was something that from the warehouse, from the White House? I don't think if I went to another country, I would eat anything that would be handed to me.
Not being a world leader or something like that.
Yeah.
No, fuck no.
Because how would you know that what you're eating wouldn't kill you or give you a disease or some kind of weird shit that they couldn't, hey, it's just a glass of orange juice. The next thing you know,
they gave you a vril worm.
Yeah, some kind of crazy shit.
No shit, man. So yeah, it was okay. It just takes a minute for the sound to come on. And I got
or even Donald Trump for that matter. I mean, I don't think he eats anything. They must just prepare.
They say he eats like fucking McDonald's today. I mean, why is this up here? Go away.
Where's the video of him eating a McRib?
Hang on, I got this thing popped up on my there. I got it to go away now. I don't know. Hey, go over to that homeless camp and get me some fucking McRib. Gross. But yeah, this has got sound. It just takes a minute, then they turn it up.
But to both of them, I said we're going to cut you off. No more trade. Then I put 200% tariffs on. The next day they called. We looked. 35 years of fighting, and they stopped. Do I get credit for it? No. They gave me. I did 8 of them. India. How about India and Pakistan? And then so I did 8 of them. And then I'll tell you the rest of it. How are you doing? Okay. You're gonna all be outside. The beautiful sun.
That's creepy.
Good. Enjoy your lunch. It's a very good group. We made a lot of progress already. We had about a 5-minute meeting, and we've already settled about 3 of the difficulties. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
So he takes the press out and he's like, okay, go out and play. Go out and play in the yard for a little while.
That's creepy.
Yeah, man. Now, what's going on there? And look at you want to see a creepy looking motherfucker? Look at this guy. Look at this guy right here. This
Yeah.
Look at this
Yeah.
Kushner. Look at that character.
They can't get enough. Well,
No thanks.
But Kiss think so.
He looks like one of those inbred royalties, you know, from the 1700s. One of those like inbred noble people with the
Yeah.
white makeup on and the fucking wig.
That's
and
one of. Did you know that him and Bibi, I guess, I don't know, Bibi like mentored him or something? They know each other.
Yeah, their families are good friends. He's
Oh,
known him
okay.
since he was a little kid. Look at that beady little fucker. He's always looks like he's up to something, don't he?
Yeah.
He always looks like he's up to something. Here's
Creepy
his
bastard.
Seth. He can't wait. He gets to play war. He gets to play war. You get this military jackass over here. Yeah, this is gonna be.
They're all kind of creepy looking. All you notice that? Who was the other guy that had the fucking like devil eyebrows? Remember him? And he disappeared, and now he's like a podcaster or something. Oh shit! I can remember his name. He was in the Senate. He had those like devil eyebrows.
Oh, Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, Gates. They're all creepy.
Yeah. He's a creepy looking fucker, isn't he, man? Yeah, he's really weird. He's a weird character, man.
They're all a little off when you look at them. They're a little. I mean, I just sometimes you can just look and just get a bad feeling. That's kind of what I get when I look at a lot of those people. Like, you get that instant kind of. You look at them and you're like, that isn't somebody I'd.
No. You know, there's some crazy shit. This comedian, look, people are doing comic bits on this whole thing, and it's all connected. Trust me, it's all connected.
Erica Kirk knew Trump before she knew Charlie. She actually won Trump's Miss Arizona pageant. Her parents are both from military intelligence family. Her dad did Raytheon arms deals with Israel, probably unrelated. And Erica Kirk was part of running an orphanage in Romania where children went missing. Enough children for Romania to permanently ban the orphanage and permanently ban Erica Kirk. Do you know how f***ed up you gotta be to get banned in Romania? Andrew Tate is the mayor there. You really gotta push some boundaries. Mind you, this is when Epstein was still active, so I'll let you connect the dots. By the way, I'm not suicidal. For the record, I am quite happy, okay? You heard it here. But the weirdest thing about Erica Kirk is she met Charlie Kirk, not on Christian Mingle. She went in to interview at his company, Turning Point USA. He said that he fell in love right away. Now, 4 years later, he's dead. And she has now inherited Turning Point USA. She's doing podcasts on it too. Like, I'm so excited. Like, to my future wife, please wait 2 months after I die before doing a podcast. 3 months if it's my own. Come on. When you look at how fast she moved on, and then you look at how it started and how it ended, how it started was not romance. How it started was her going in for a job, and how it ended was her getting a promotion. So I'm just saying. It was probably Tyler.
Yeah, it's all fucking related, man. Because that Romanian Angels. What's the matter? Everybody else can hear us. You're muted right now, Rob. Eric, you're muted. It's down there at the bottom.
Yeah, the little mic symbol. Yeah. Make sure it's not red.
This is pretty good. This is for people who believe in Israel's promised land. There should be under your there should be a little picture of a microphone, Eric, and if you can click on there because it's showing your microphone muted. You see your little thing on the screen.
Hello, nice to meet you. Do you live here?
Yes.
With your family?
No, I live alone. Sorry, who?
Oh, that's even easier. This is my house.
What?
Sorry, my English is not very good. Is it fast?
Yes. See?
Is that a Roman city?
I see. You're joking. It's a lovely joke. Because you're Italian, you think that you own this place because...
No, there is no joke. The Romans occupied England in the 5th century, so anyone of Roman descent has an historic claim to this land. Now leave, my family is waiting outside.
Oh my God, you're serious?
Yes. My god Jupiter proclaimed it. So now back up and peace off, pretty boy.
Your English sounds pretty good to me. Listen. You can't just turn up to someone's house, evict them, and then move in because you think you're the descendants of someone who lived here thousands of years ago. You know that's ridiculous, right?
Pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Die, guys, come in. Anki Jupiterai. Hello, nice.
That's in a nutshell, man.
Wouldn't have even gone that far. I would have been like, door closed, stick in your ass.
You see, that's literally what happened in Israel. There we go. Let's see. He's there. That's not muted.
No, they're messing with my computer, man. I just got banned from everything.
Oh man.
You know, something's finally come out. It's kind of regarding this Erica Kirk and this. I'm not here to support Candace Owens. They're all propped up, successful people.
Shifty ladies.
Yeah, no, it's like, you know, they're daring to touch on the military. You know, here's one, and Alex Jones just had a nut job. How dare you go after the U.S. military? I've been saying for a long time that decades of this truth or conspiracy stuff, CIA, Mossad, the Jesuits, the Jews, the this and that. But isn't it funny that one entity you can't touch, U.S. military, very simple, just the military, which all sheriffs and police
they've gone to great pains to apothecate the military. They really have.
Yes.
You know, now they made it so that it's the proper salutation is thank you for your service. You know.
Yeah. And what did QAnon do? Oh, yeah. It's the FBI did, but it wasn't a military operation. It was a corrupt, Democrat FBI deal. No, it's the military people.
Yeah. I've had people say that to me before. Thank you for your service. And I said, don't thank me.
Yeah,
I didn't do shit for you. I didn't do shit for you.
Just go read Smedley Butler's book, okay? Just go read that. Anybody who believes in...
I was used as leverage in the Cold War. That was it.
You were a terrorist, basically.
Here's somebody called the Bearer of Christ. And Bearer of Christ, you're going to have to turn your camera on, and I'll keep you backstage. Turn your camera on. Oh, look at there. Cool. The Bearer of Christmas Present. I like it.
Who else would it be?
Well, I don't know, man. These people
could be anybody, right?
Yes, fucking names to come on here. Did you see anything about the Netanyahu visit?
When?
Oh, he was just there yesterday.
I saw it briefly. I literally just got home. Funny enough, guess where I was?
I give up.
At the Iowa State Capitol building.
What for?
Just went to visit. My sister's in town, so I took her up there. It's about 2.5 hours away, but it's really a unique place to go visit if you ever get the chance. It's a stolen old world building. I got plenty of pics and vids, but I got to upload them yet.
Let me guess. There was a fire in the original building, and then about 1890,
I got video of it.
In a year.
Yeah,
you're exactly correct.
That's something.
And they rebuilt it exactly the same.
Well, we ran into that. We went to the Saginaw post office when I was up in Michigan. Went to the Saginaw post office. This fucking thing's a castle, and there's a sign out there about the guy that won the contest to build it and shit, you know. And I went inside, and you have to pay to go through it, and I wasn't about to give him any money.
Yeah, this is free, so it should be. It's taxpayer funded, right?
I mean, I walked in the door and I was able to see, you know, like in the main hallway and that kind of thing. But there's these people there that sell you these tickets and shit. And I said, I says, isn't that amazing? I said, how come we can't build shit like this anymore? Well, I don't know. It's just too costly. I said, I thought people was all poor and shit back in the day. In fact, here's something for you. How much in the 60s was minimum wage?
Shoot. I had no clue. I didn't live there, but I'm going to say like $1 or $2.
$1.75. Okay. Right now, at the price of what? Now that's 7 quarters. Right. Those quarters were not 67, 57. Those quarters were silver.
Real silver.
Silver prices today, those 7 quarters would be about $70.
Yeah.
That dude was making literally 70 fucking bucks an hour by today's standards in silver. And now here we are with fake money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's hard to kind of wrap your mind around, but the fact of the matter is because it was real silver, and right now at the price of silver, that dude at $1.75, 7 quarters. If you were to have 7 quarters that were pure silver right now, they'd be worth about $70 altogether.
Reserve notes, not actual.
No, the actual coin. The actual coin.
Yeah, no, but it would be,
yeah.
it would be 70 Federal Reserve
Debt
notes.
notes.
$70 worth of silver. 70, not Federal Reserve notes though.
Debt notes.
$70 worth of silver. And you actually have $70 worth of silver. You don't have to cash it in for nothing. It's already money because it's silver.
Yeah.
It's a certain weight of silver. Now, then after 63, they started putting copper in.
Yep.
But getting back to your original question, I saw a little bit. What didn't you have Zelensky there too? Was that the same thing today?
He had Zelensky. I'm not sure if that was at Mar-a-Lago or if that was at the White House.
I don't know. I just know they're both with Trump at some point in time, just like within a day or two.
Yeah. Within a day, it was like one day it was Zelensky, the next day it was Netanyahu, and I think that kind of, if I look at it right, it's like, okay, we're done with the Ukraine thing. You're all over with now.
So they say,
we're going to focus our shit on Venezuela and Iran. And I really see he's gonna talk Trump. Now you don't have to talk him into it. He owns that motherfucker.
Is that what you're talking about? How he was saying that, like, oh, Iran's probably starting their program back up again. It's like, I thought you destroyed it.
Yeah.
I thought you destroyed it. So why do we got to go back in there again? I thought, so what? How do you justify that whole scenario that you said it told everybody that it was their program was completely destroyed? Now they're starting it back up that quickly. Okay.
Right. Something that supposedly took them years to develop and everything. Look, Netanyahu's been telling us Iran's only, a few
10 minutes away.
Yeah, 10
exactly.
Years, man. Come on, this guy's a joke. And he looks shiftier and shiftier the older he gets. Yeah. I swear to God, this guy looks shiftier and shiftier. I kind of liked how this went down with it. What was it, D-Man?
Listen, we need to go to Iran so we can save those people from fentanyl.
Yeah.
Yes. Fentanyl and the evil Iranian regime and shit.
Netanyahu had a kind of a deathly look about himself today, or whenever it was. He had he looked like he just came out of the morgue or something.
Well, he's under a lot of stress right now too.
Yeah,
he's under a lot of stress right now too. They're trying to impeach his ass. Trump's telling him over there in Israel, don't prosecute him, but they want to prosecute his ass. Contrary to popular belief, he's not really that popular. He's seen as kind of like somebody who is destroying their country, who's destroying their people, and he is, and it's good. You need to. You guys don't need. You can't handle being a country. You can't.
Oh, I'll wait till you're done.
Oh, you're all right.
I just had one more point to make. I thought this was interesting. So I was getting ready to go into the Capitol, right? And I didn't think about it at the time. So I'm walking in. They got security and the little thing you got to walk through and all that, right? There's these two gentlemen. They're a little bit older than me. And I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, I got my pocket knife on me. And he's like, no big deal. He's like, just throw it in the little basket and we'll, check you out as you go. And then I started putting it in the basket. He's like, well, how big is it? I was like, oh, it's not that big. It's just this thing, And I was like, he's like, oh, that's all right. Just go ahead. And so I go through the whatever you want to call it, the security check thing. And then he gives me my stuff back. He's like, just keep it in your pocket, though. I was like, well, that was my intention, to keep my pocket knife in my pocket. But I was like, you really let me through here? Like, what if I really did have bad intentions? I'm at a place where nobody likes any of these people. It's like, you just let me in with a pocket knife? That seems a little crazy. But I didn't say anything, but that was what I was thinking in my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
They let me in the Capitol building with a pocket knife. Just imagine what if I seriously was somebody who was like deranged they just let somebody in with a pocket knife.
Well, you know, they used to never check nobody for anything.
Yeah, I know.
Because we didn't have people doing shit like that.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was just people weren't getting fucked as hard either.
Yeah.
That's the thing. See, every time I've had to go into a court and they have that metal detector and you got to take your shoes off and all that other dumb shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That metal detector. I'm like, what? I always ask them, I said, what is it you people are so afraid of?
Yeah.
And they said, well, somebody could come in here angry and try to shoot the judge or
why?
And I was like, well, wait a second. If you're dispensing justice here, right? That means that why would anybody want to kill you? Why would anybody want to do you harm? If you're actually doing what you're supposed to do, why would that be a problem? So I tell them, I say, you know what the real reason is because you fuck everybody that comes in here.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, the odds are that somebody's going to fucking not have nothing left to lose. And we're seeing that more and more and more.
Or worse comes to worse, it's not just one or two people. It's maybe the village gets it's pitchfork and torch time, people.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why all those courthouses burnt down and shit.
Yeah,
Back in the same time period.
But isn't that wild though? They let me in there with the pocket knife. That seems
well. Maybe the what's their favorite thing? Well, in today's age, that's here's the how they all. Well,
in this
day and age.
Yeah.
And outside of those two older guys outside those two older gentlemen, they had no chance of stopping me, and there was no other security the rest of the time there. I mean, they got cameras and crap. I get that, but it's just like throughout the building, I never saw another security guard or anything. And
my whole thing to that when somebody says this day and age, it's well, in this day and age, I just go, it's always this day and age.
Yeah.
The passage of time has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Okay. The only thing that's different is the people are acting a certain way as opposed to how they used to act. Now, why we know that the passage of time wasn't responsible for that. So what was responsible for it?
Yeah, and why don't they finish it?
In this day and age, no,
it's not even a complete statement. Well, in this day, no, I don't know what. What are you implying? What is your presumption? What? Finish your thought, retard.
Al Qaeda and ISIS. How do I know you're not a terrorist? I know for certain you are a terrorist. So what the fuck? Are you hoping I'm part of your club?
On the ground, on the ground.
And you know what? I want to hear people stop using the term fraud when it comes to these men and women calling them. It's terrorism. It's terrorism.
Yep.
It's human trafficking, terrorism. According to their Title 18 to intimidate or coerce a civilian. I don't know.
I see it every day on the internet. Every day.
Here's one other funny note too on that. I'm wearing my shirt that says "Save a kid, kill a pedophile."
Nice.
Straight from Uranus.
I stopped at the gas station. There's this kid that came in behind me. I didn't have my jacket on. He's like, "Oh, dude, can I take a picture of your shirt?" I was like, "I guess, go for it." And the lady that was checking me out, she's like, "What does it say?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll turn around. You'll see it when I walk out." And I was just like, "Oh, well, I'll tell you." And I go, it says "save a kid," and she goes, "Aw," and then I go, "kill a pedophile," and she's like, "Oh."
That's a good point. I was looking at what's his name. The guy Robert Fulmuck that was the German lawyer that was pretty prominent and was doing the convid thing. Yeah. And I was in prison. Hey, if you listen to the court, right? He had child porn on his computer. I highly doubt that. I look at the guy's eyes, and they use that as a weapon. So, I don't believe court records or police records because, in my own experience, they make shit up and fucking lie.
Of course,
I
see it every day.
Yep.
Yep, because they rely on that written record.
They've been caught planting stuff on people.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm saying this whole fucking Charlie Kirk trial. How are they going to pull that off? I mean, Texas has had 11 people that they know of have been executed and then exonerated by DNA because the DNA evidence that was presented at the time of trial was manipulated, fraudulent, or fake. You know, I mean, it's just like, are you shitting me? His DNA was on the gun. Bullshit. What do you people just go around dropping off DNA every fucking place? Get out of here.
Where's the evidence that this flesh and blood character, allegedly called Charlie Kirk, that's a whole other thing. Where's the evidence this guy's even dead?
Yeah. There's no autopsy report. We never saw any funeral. They claim there was one. We have no burial. We got kids with no birth certificate. We got a bitch who comes on and says, "Oh, I hadn't dated for 5 years prior to Charlie," and then find out she was actually married before to a Romanian dude.
Catfish messages, all kinds of shit.
Dude, this shit is crazy as hell. And I don't think that comedian was far off the mark.
Nope.
What he's saying. But at the same time, I think they saw that as a good look. Here's a cash cow we can hijack and really rake in the money for Israel. See, keep pushing that pro-Zionist shit, and we want to hit the young minds at the colleges the hardest. But you can't, because you know they're trying that shit and it's backfiring all over the place because people are going up and to the microphone and asking about shit that's going on with Israel and why would we support that and why don't we get rid of AIPAC and all this other, and they're like shitting themselves. They don't know what to do because all these speakers are pro-Zionist speakers.
So basically it's looking like this whole family, including the little angel cherubs and the wife / mother, it's looking like the whole thing is just a fiction. Like,
yes. Listen, nobody's ever seen the kids. The kids have no birth certificates. Nobody's ever seen the fucking kids.
I said this from day one. I said the whole thing is an act.
Just from the back, right? And they say, oh, because we want our privacy. Then why the fuck are you posting pictures of you with your family like that and trying to obscure the kid? Because that way you can use a different kid all the time if you need to.
Yeah.
And just to get the emote and pull on the heartstrings.
From what I understand, they're in the market of kids.
Yeah.
You know, they probably scoop one up wherever they need one. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, D-Man, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say the Obama kids are a great example.
Yeah.
Look at them compared to the so-called parents, but then look at the maid and the other guy, and you realize real quick that those aren't his kids.
Yep.
They're the kids from the people that are working with them because they look identical. It's like, this whole so it's a lot of fraud.
Well, and again, it's now the evidence is coming out that, oh, surprise, surprise. Yeah, we all know the CIA. See, this is the thing with the truth or conspiracy. Oh, the CIA brings in drugs and cocaine. Yeah, but also they do it out of Fort Benning. I know I was recruited in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, to be part of a drug deal. Yeah, it's hey, mom and dad, God, thank you for your service. Your son in the Marines, Army. Yeah, they're gang banging and they deal drugs and they traffic children.
Kundalini King here said we had a president for 8 years whose wife was a man. We've had more than one. We've had much more than just Barbara Bush. We had one that was first lady for all longer than that. Okay, through into 4 terms. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And that was a manly looking woman. And you can always tell too, because people say this about him too. They say, "Oh, she's such a handsome woman." That means manly looking.
That's
what that means, manly looking.
Did you ever see the video with Putin? And Putin's got all of these world leader people, and he's walking down the line of people. He shakes the hand of Macron. He shakes the hand of this one and that one. Then he gets down to Macron's wife. You know, he kisses the hand. He does the whole kiss thing. Then he gets to Macron's wife, and he shakes her hand like he shakes all the other dudes' hands. And I was like, son of a bitch. He knows. He knows. He's like, I ain't kissing that.
That's the thing about Erica Kirk too. It's like she has this selective publicity, privacy thing going on where it's like, oh, I'm gonna go on a book tour and I want all the publicity, but I want to be private. I don't want to show my kids. It's like it don't work that way, dude. That's not how it works. You don't get to pick. You know, if you want to be out in the public eye and peddle all your bull crap, then you got to take the heat that comes with it, and that's your privacy. So
real quick, I'm throwing something in the back right now. That link in the back, that's a real handsome woman. That's real, by the way.
Oh, I've seen this. The Queen of Iran. Yeah, that was a dude. As they find out, that was a dude. The Queen of
Bear,
Iran.
and everybody else. Just kind of before you, I just want the thing about the what would you say, the courthouse or the county building or whatever. Yeah. I look at a lot of the John Levi and your lunch break and stuff, and it's getting really good. But there's one thing nobody's addressed, and maybe if anybody's into that, research more. This whole savage Native Americans and the buffaloes, and if these buildings were there for, I don't know, 500-600 years, why weren't the savages occupying any of these buildings?
yeah, there's so many questions.
That's a like.
Yeah, I haven't really heard too many people ever or anybody at all bring that up. But yeah,
that's just Saddam Hussein in drag, man.
Yeah, she's a looker right there.
Wow, that's terrible. Yeah,
she got legs like a linebacker.
I bet you, but I bet she rich as shit.
Oh yeah,
here's an even. How much are you willing to? What's your price?
Here's an even better one.
Everybody got a price now. So yeah, this was pretty good. I like what he said about this.
You couldn't see Netanyahu's left hand there because it was obviously up Trump's ass. And Trump was just saying whatever Netanyahu wanted.
Trump and Bibi both get dismantled by Cenk Uyghur before Anna and Cenk make an undeniable point.
We're going to tell you what Netanyahu asked for behind the scenes. It was obvious in what Trump said in front of the scenes. And then we're going to tell you about how Israel is continuing to completely violate Trump's peace plan in several different ways, and Trump is aiding and abetting it because obviously we don't run our own country anymore.
Well, we haven't run our own country for a very long time at this point, but Trump is really good at making it brazen and obvious.
You couldn't see Netanyahu's left hand there because it was obviously up.
Yeah, it had to have been up his ass. It had to have been. Oh,
they're all acting. I don't think all these nation states are run by the beast system. Anybody on the world stage, they're just
it's controlled opposition. It's just it's a soap opera.
Here's that stunning queen.
Oh, that one's a beauty. Check out those legs.
Oh my God!
Shaped like an egg.
Well, yeah.
Humpty Dumpty.
There's another picture.
Yeah, I think that might be that might be like a granddaughter. Does that dance for us on there? She's pretty hot, I'll tell you.
Enough to go around for all of us, boys.
Oh. All that meat and no potatoes, huh?
Look at 2 generations ago of photos. I don't see any so-called human beings that had these problems.
Well, are you insinuating that the beautiful Iranian princess is something
other?
Ghastly?
No, I mean I'm just saying this random one dancing with the
obesity and type 2 diabetes.
Why is that?
I don't know, man. They had some fucked up people back in the day, but there weren't as many of them.
But they tended to be like royalty or something because they ate really good. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't peasants and stuff like that who were either working for practically nothing or starving.
Right. I think the fucked up people were the elite or something, because you look at like Coney Island or the streets of downtown New York, or people were dressed fine. I didn't even relatively fat.
Yeah,
like, almost
But the higher ups, I mean, they were having, you know, parties and stuff with the great big spreads of food on. You know, they probably ate well while everybody else, they were working there. They were building all those buildings, right?
Well, here's like check this out. So here's you're onto something, but also poor nutrition, things like that.
Yeah.
There was a thing that happened after the Civil War. It was like in the 1870s, and it was predominantly in the South. And they thought that there was this virus. These people would get like what started out as a sunburn, and then I forget what the hell they called it. But it would eventually they'd get diarrhea and have all these problems, and then they'd die. Okay. And they brought this doctor in, and he figured it out, man, that people thought this was some kind of contagious virus. And to try, even just to convince the people, this guy was injecting shit from their pustules into himself. He was actually eating their scabs mixed with dough and shit like that, and not getting sick. And what it was is because of the diet that they had. They were literally, their organs were shutting down because of their diet. And it was merely because they weren't getting enough niacin in their diet, is what it was. And, you know, the molasses and cornbread and fatback and shit, there wasn't enough in that to give you any nutrients at all. In the South, after the Civil War, was extremely poor. Here, just in Virginia was one of the wealthiest states in the Union before secession. And once after Reconstruction, they were, or occupation as we like to call it, they didn't get back their pre-Civil War economic status until I think it was like 1982. So it took them 100 years to get back to where they were economically.
Well, that whole Civil War, yeah, it's pretty. I guess the record shows that they did level some cities, but where's all the photographs of the red coat, of the blue coats and gray coats fighting these battles? Because they seem not to exist. But the devastation that was recorded. But where are these great battles?
Well, the photography was a little bit of a different story back then too. And yeah, even on the battlefields where they went and actually photographed the dead on the battlefields, like at Gettysburg and shit, they posed and they posed a lot of those pictures because those pictures were taken in, I believe, October of 1863, and a great many of them. And that battle was in July. So most of the bodies that you see laying on in various areas were Confederate dead that the Northerners refused to bury. So there's one guy that he's used in 3 different poses that they took his body, they propped him up. There's a thing they called it a sniper's nest at Devil's Den. There's a famous photograph of this soldier leaned up against the wall, laid up against the wall, and his rifle's there. And then you see him later laying in a ditch, you know, with the rifle across. They took bodies and actually posed in those photographs. Those were taken well after in September. Right.
Your mic's a little muffled, so
mine is.
Yeah, it's better now. But yeah.
Hey, you ever looked at the battle flag of, I think it's South Carolina? I think it still exists. There's an iconic thing that if you look at it, if you pull it up real quick, it's vaguely reminiscent of some other foreign entity and superpower. And then that's going to take you back to the so-called revolution and what was the actual first nation state to recognize the newly formed United States. That's a little trivia thing.
Let's see. Well, let's see. There's the one they got with the palm tree and the crescent moon.
There you go.
A lot of them use that. That was part of their state flag as well.
Yeah, because basically, you know, we're told that the British and the Spanish and the French were all, you know, vying for power
and wars.
But they don't for some, and it's the Treaty of Peace. The first empire sovereign was the Ottoman Empire, not a European Christian country. Oh, hello, New York.
Eric.
No,
Eric, the first country to recognize the United States was the Sultanate of Morocco.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, the Moroccan, yes.
1777.
Which was Ottoman. Exactly.
Formalizing ties with the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in 1787.
Yeah.
Joining the Union that was Delaware on December 7th, 1787, earning the nickname the First State.
So yeah, you're right though with these elites and these royals and shit and the inbreeding. There's a number of people in the royals that had
Habsburg.
Yeah, real bad was the Habsburgs. Let's see here.
The Dutch did it too.
I don't know.
Germans.
Rothschild, right?
Wow.
Is that Cash Patel?
Yeah, that's Cash. That's good old Cash. This right here, this was the Habsburg.
Oh,
is that a boy or girl?
Yeah, they had the chin.
Consanguinity, the act of marrying a biological relative, has been a mainstay of royal families for about as long as there have been dynasties. On paper, the idea makes perfect sense. Marry a relative, keep the bloodline utterly pure by producing children from consanguineous marriages. And if a dispute should arise within the family, have the conflicting parties get married. What could possibly go wrong? A lot, actually. As we know, with the modern science of genetics and hindsight of many royal disasters, inbreeding leads to diseases and deformities, some of which were so severe that entire dynasties were brought to their knees. In fact, some historians have even suggested that the inbreeding of European royals was a leading factor of World War I. Thank goodness it pretty much ended then. Considering that children in royal families tended to have much higher mortality rates than the general population, it can pretty well be concluded that being royalty wasn't always all that it was cracked up to be. This list will give you some pretty good reasons to be thankful that you aren't a king or a queen. And that's one of the Habsburgs. That's King Charles of Spain, is who that is right there. And it says, for hundreds of years, the Habsburgs were one of the most powerful families in all of Europe. The line began in the 13th century and ruled Austria, Spain, and the Holy Roman Empire, which was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. Until the 1900s, Marie Antoinette, the last queen of France, was herself from the Habsburg line. However, the royal line suffered acutely from massive inbreeding. In fact, inbreeding may have been what led to the downfall of the dynasty. In fact, one of the Habsburgs, Joanna of Castile, appears in the family tree no fewer than 14 times. The family was particularly known for what is identified as the Habsburg jaw, an oversized jawline and large tongue that made activities such as eating and speaking difficult. The last Habsburg king of Spain was Charles II, and he was so severely inbred that his inbred quotient was higher than if his parents had been siblings. He had such a severely oversized jawline that he was barely able to eat or speak. He was also known to drool a lot. Additionally, he was unable to walk until he was 8 years old, and even then could only walk with great difficulty. Not exactly a ladies' man. Despite being married twice, the king was unable to procreate, quite possibly an effect of his severe inbreeding. He died in 1700 at the age of 39, leaving behind no heir to the throne and thereby effectively ending the Habsburg rule in Spain. And this broad, she slept next to her husband's dead corpse. Who was this guy here? This was Ferdinand of Austria. I mean, they're insane. These people were fucking insane, man. And he was a descendant of Joanna of Castile. Ferdinand I of Austria was born in 1793 to double first cousins. Oh, God.
But they only have like 10 names to go around back then, like Ferdinand and Alexander. And
yeah. It says he had he was hydrocephalic.
But I guess incest.
Water on the brain. It was common to the Habsburgs. Water on the brain causes pressure on the sensitive tissue and leads to brain damage. He also had the infamous Habsburg jaw. Let's see what he looked like.
And epilepsy.
Sweet.
Big fucking head. Yeah, it was a waterhead.
So my question is, you go back to the older period before these lepers, and we had people like Alexander the Great, Marcus Aurelius. I'm not saying these people, I believe the narrative, but how did we go from these kind of leaders of men to these fucksticks?
Blue pea.
Yeah, he had blue pea, man.
I have who knows? The bloodlines go way back though. So
Yeah, it was something because they gave him let's see. King George III of England, known to history as the one who lost the American Revolution, also belonged to this house and may have suffered form of condition known as phosphira. And this is from the Hanover house. Porphyra is a genetic condition that causes bouts of madness and also causes one suffering to have purplish bluish urine.
Thank God I got
think
rid
that's
of
from
mine.
the remedy that they give him. He had a mental illness, possibly bipolar disorder, this is what they're figuring now, which could have been caused by the inbreeding with the House of Hanover. During his manic states, his writings was remarkably different. Sentences could be over 400 words long. He was even known to talk and talk and talk until foam came from his mouth. In fact, he is known to history as the Mad King. His treatments involve the use of straitjackets and ice baths. Come on, man. It's understandable how someone in his state of mind would have lost a war as momentous as the American Revolution. He also suffered from skin conditions, possibly caused by inbreeding, which were treated with medicine made from gentian. Gentian is known to turn urine purplish blue, thereby leading to the theory that the king suffered from porphyra.
I take cold showers practically every day. I haven't taken a warm. Yeah, it's good for you. It raises your cortisol. Good for your immune system. It's got lots of benefits. Gets rid of brown fat, they say. Inflammation. There's all kinds of things it's good for. But you ever had, like, my grandfather would be like, you need to go take a cold shower or something, wake you up. But I do that all the time. I think it's super beneficial for
I do
me.
it sometimes.
I mean, it never gets any better. Anytime you jump in there, it's like jumping into a cold pool with the shock at first.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
One of the best things to do is actually the Russian, not the Greek, but you go to a Russian bath and you go sit in a nice hot steamy shower. You get super fucking hot.
I'm
And
not
right
a bath
outside,
guy.
it's an ice cold water. But man, that feels nice, Dave. I mean,
So I like it. I like a sauna. I love a
Yeah.
sauna. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it opens. I mean, you get the blood pumping, and then it opens. The cold it contracts and the skin and everything.
Yeah, that's good for you too. When you do the combination of the two, a sauna and a
Turkish bath.
Yeah.
I used to go to a Turkish bath when I lived in Boston.
I ain't doing any of the bathhouses. That ain't my thing.
There's nothing like that.
That's Dr. stuff.
I wouldn't do it in the Americas because they're mostly filled with. But over here in Asia, they're all kind of harmless gays.
I'm just kidding around.
No, it's true, man.
I know it's true, but yeah.
In America, are
they always have the pretty ladies around who always say hello to you. How are you today? Oh, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
They call you Erickson. Erickson.
They had different types. So I'm not going to get into it, but my friend used to say that too. Same thing that what's his name said. He'd say, "Oh, hell with that. I ain't going to those."
Get a hold of one of them lady boys. Look out. They got
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
May the Schwartz be with you.
So it ain't about the drugs, man.
Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
To be clear, we are dropping the original narrative. Drugs in. We're letting go of that, right?
No one's buying it. Everybody knows. Let's just say it. Let's just say, oil. It took our oil. Our oil that's somehow in their land and ground, but it's ours because I want it.
Also, only issue I take with this headline, Time Magazine, is this presumes a world where Donald Trump could learn a lesson. And he's never learned a lesson in his fucking life. He is a functional idiot. And he ain't learning shit about shit. We should have learned this lesson. We, like as a country, our government officials should have learned this lesson. But then again, we installed a functional idiot. So you get what you pay for.
Yeah, but it's not Trump. This is the
That's Netanyahu.
Globalist.
And let me tell you what it is too.
It's the
Oh no,
it's
no,
the
no.
Monroe
This is
Doctrine.
actually this is Israel. This is Israel. This Israel is behind this. It's pushing Trump to get because they control the US. Was Venezuela recognizes Palestine. What's the dude's name? Maduro?
Yeah.
He said that Netanyahu is the 21st century's Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, but,
Okay.
but
They're coming after him. Okay, and that's why Bibi's frothing at the mouth. But he's wanting to get us involved in Iran too. You can mark my words. We're going to be engaged in at least airstrikes.
They already did it.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
says he
They
did.
did it today.
He says they did, but there's no confirmed.
On Iran?
No,
on ports.
On Venezuela. Oh yeah, yeah. I said he blew up a drug factory and shit.
Yeah,
and it
port
wasn't a
today was hit.
food processing plant.
Yesterday.
The funny thing in
Yeah.
that video you just played, he said he never learns anything. It's like we never learn anything either, apparently.
No, I mean, if people keep going and voting and doing, they think they can vote their way out of this nonsense.
But this is the nature of the United States corporation. Look at the Monroe Doctrine. This is nothing new. This is when was the Monroe Doctrine? Oh, the whole Western Hemisphere. Oh, the globe belongs to the United States Inc. Basically, which is just the East India Company, Red, White, and Blue Unit. So it's just East India Company, British East India. It's just rebranded.
What did Clinton hit? An aspirin factory or something? Remember that?
Yeah,
Clinton
I think. What was it? Bush hit a baby milk factory.
Yeah.
Said it was a chemical munitions plant, and it's like, shut the fuck up, man.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's we're just gonna say that about. I mean, was he signaling? That preposterous thing to us. It got dismantled within an hour of him saying that. That the fentanyl is coming from there, and it's a weapon of mass destruction, and all this. Wait, where have we heard that before? Right. I think he really does think that everybody is that dumb.
Of course.
The way he was talking to the press like that, like, okay, run outside and play. The grown-ups are talking, dismissive, arrogant. Fuck him.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
The general population has a memory of a goldfish, and they have no ability to deductive reasoning, and they don't see pattern recognition. Like they don't get WMD. What does that even mean? So it's a weapon, which is just a descriptive term of mass destruction. So okay, I have a weapon of moderate destruction. I have a weapon of
Right.
Like what are these categories here of mass destruction?
Limited destruction. And here's the thing: how is it a weapon? How the hell is it a weapon? Is there somebody, they're taking these boats and climbing out at the beachhead someplace, and they're sneaking around and injecting people with these drugs, and then sneaking back and going and is that how that's working? Or is there people out there searching for this product, and they're fulfilling the market?
Well, what's a weapon? What's a weapon in the first place? I have a pencil. Dave pissed me off. Maybe I'm unhinged, and I freaking hit his.
I had a pocket knife in the Capitol.
Yeah, right.
But
listen, fentanyl did 9/11. Okay,
that's it. Finally, closure. Yeah.
But it's like mass casualty event. They consider that 3 or 4 or more people, and it's like, so how do you determine? So since less than 3 or 4 people got killed, but that happens in Chicago on the daily, we don't consider that a mass casualty event. It's
Right.
all these terms, these magic words they use. But anyway,
Gun violence.
Scary
That's a
words.
good one.
Gun violence.
Yeah.
What
war on drugs.
do you call fist violence? What would happen
Wow.
if I smack somebody with a hammer? Is that hammer violence?
Mm-hmm.
Stupid shit.
Paul
man.
Pelosi thinks so.
I think he paid extra for that. I think he paid extra.
Yeah, he
for
probably
that.
did.
Or he got his little frequent flyer card punched enough times. He got that for free.
There's another guy that just disappeared off the map, probably with the rest of
Yeah.
them.
What happened with that?
Supposedly, he got. I
Do
don't know.
anything about it? You know, the dude was like, you know,
Well,
the
they
whole
put-
connections were shaky as shit. Let's face
They
it.
put that guy. They put the guy
that
that hit him. They put the guy with the hammer that hit him with the hammer in like jail for like 16 years or something crazy.
Did
So,
they
you know,
know? Did they know?
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
they? Exactly.
He's off with
I'd
the
like
rest
to
of
know
them.
if somebody's out there and says, "Yeah, I got a letter from my brother in jail." You know, he's roommates with that fucking dude that tried to kill. Remember? You know.
I don't know. Apparently, I have a presidential pardon, but I didn't get mine, and I really don't need it. But if you search that legal name, and you believe that's me, which is just a record and an account name, apparently this man got a presidential pardon, but I never submitted my. Oh, thank you, President Trump. God bless. I guess I'm the only one. Stupid cunts thought it would be smart to arrest me and put me with those retards.
So this was kind of weird, man. This was something he tweeted out on his. Is there anybody else even on Truth Social? I mean,
No.
there's got to be but I never see anybody posting anything anybody else has said on Truth Social. It's only ever Donald Trump. I think he's like the king and the owner and the only member of it. You know?
I do know one person, my uncle, and I don't know
My
why.
mother.
But,
My mother.
Okay, there's two.
It's basically it's mostly military bots and MAGA
QAnon.
nationalists. QAnon, yeah, it's basically that.
Oh,
But just like Twitter, I would say probably most of it are just propaganda bots. I don't know.
He's playing 5D chess. See, that's what's going on. But he's always got to tell you how fucking smart he is, too. You know, he's always telling you. He's always telling you how he's the brightest motherfucker.
Red light, green light.
Let me see. Where is that? I got a mashup of that.
Q is actually Hillary.
Q is Hillary. I wouldn't believe it. Let me see here. No, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, here's. I got another thing about most of these politicians are gay. Damn it.
No, they just wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah, I went to a bunch of old world buildings. I got a bunch of videos I'm gonna need to upload and pictures and stuff. It should be pretty good. I also went to this West End architectural salvage place. It's 4 stories. They got a bunch of antique-y stuff and old signs, and had a good time.
Eric, where are you?
I'm in Cambodia.
Oh, okay. That explains the weird power outlet.
Yeah. Annoying. So annoying.
What is that, man?
Electrical outlets. We talked about this before.
Come on, that can't be all the way up at the top.
Yeah, it's all on purpose too. It's like, some ideas of standardization. Call me a globalist or a communist. It's nice to have international standards. I don't know for shit like that.
We've decided around here that we're against isms. We don't like isms,
especially the Bajarian type.
Where the fuck? God damn, I can't ever find nothing, man. Okay, we're way into yesterday. I can't be. All right, wait, maybe it was up here at the top.
Yeah, I missed yesterday's. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Haven't had a lot of time.
I passed out. I fell asleep.
Oh, did you?
I tried to stay awake, man. I couldn't do it.
That happens occasionally.
It says if you feel the need to point to your head and brag about how big your brain is or how smart you are, then you're a fucking moron. And by the fucking moron, I mean Donald Trump, the dumbest motherfucking president in history. This is from an account called Canada Hates Trump.
Wait, come on, let's be fair here. Okay, Biden, W. Did we all forget about
this is even better, though. This is even better because the proof's in the pudding. Okay, the proof's in the pudding. This guy's all the time bragging about how goddamn smart he is, and he ain't nothing but a fucking lapdog for Israel. That's it. You know, he's a joke.
and he's a fucking pedophile.
The metrics right here. That's my metrics.
Murder.
That's all I can do. China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large brain. I speak from here and from the heart. I speak from the brain, but I speak from the heart. It's both. We speak from the heart and we speak from the brain. We're going to deal from the heart. We're going to deal from the brain. I had to speak from my heart and my brain, just so we understand. My deadline is what's up here. We'll figure out the deadline. You know, up here, very important. So important for right up here, the psyche. It's called like up here, and it's called memory, and it's called other things. We have horrible people that have no touch, no brain, no nothing. We need brain in this country to turn it around. You need the brain. You need the brain.
You know, it's like pretty obvious to anybody with a brain.
Let's use the brain, not the toughness. So here I am. Great schools, great brain, which I want to use the brain for you.
I'm speaking with myself, number one, because I have a very good brain and I've said a lot of things.
This is the only musical, the mouth. And hopefully the brain attached to the mouth, right? The brain, more important than the mouth, is the brain. The brain is much more important. I think God helped me. I think, you know, look, God helped me by giving me a certain brain, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. You need the brain.
And that was zombies say brains.
Brains.
It's like, yeah, that's your speechwriter and the teleprompter.
Yep.
Big brain.
Yep.
Come on, you've heard him speak when he doesn't have a teleprompter. It goes way off.
He just uses a bunch of filler words and shit. You know, this is the most magnificent. You can ask anybody, and he segues away from, you know, and never does get to the point. Just, wow, thank you for that massive vowel movement. You know, it's like.
I'll give him, he does have pretty good timing, especially when it comes to some things, but whatever. I mean, for the most part, he's not that.
I think
smart,
that's
but-
gonna. I think that's you're gonna start. I've been following this guy who claims that he's a doctor that works with Alzheimer's and dementia patients and shit,
Mhm.
and he's explained these bruises is IV sites where they've had to put some kind of a drug that they use to try to stave off some of the debilitating effects of it, but it doesn't cure it or stop it. And they've had to move over to another hand. You see, he's got a Band-Aid on the one hand and he's bruised on the other hand. And there's another thing about him leaning forward all the time now. He's all the time leaning forward.
Yeah.
And there's a name for it. I forget. I saw a thing about it earlier.
Foreskinnia.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, he's always had horrible posture, but not like I'm one to speak, but it's better than his.
It's probably to counterweight the gut.
It
You know what I'm
could be.
saying?
The gut, yeah.
It's called kyphosis.
The fucking guy
Yeah.
eats like McDonald's 6 times a day and shit.
Excessive
Coke.
spinal curvature or poor posture.
All that
or
Diet
issues
Coke.
like
Oh, sorry.
or stenosis, spinal stenosis.
We call it dicky do.
Yeah, right.
That's where your belly sticks out more than your dicky do.
Yeah.
We've seen that. So what was this? There was a high-profile former CIA spy warns that tools can take over your phone, TV, and even your car. I guess there was some kind of a high-profile car accident involving some. But this guy came out and said that the CIA can actually, and not just newer cars, older cars, and they can actually take over the fucking steering of your car and run you into a tree, run you off the road, whatever the fuck they want to.
Here's the
I guess-
problem. I can tell you how they can do this. It's because everything is electric power steering. Nothing's manual.
No.
Meaning when you turn the wheel now, the wheel doesn't have a shaft connection to something that's turning something. It's electric in everything. Same thing with the stereo. Same thing with the radio. Same thing with the heating. If you have a screen in the middle, all that stuff can be hijacked. Anything that electric. Dude, you're not going to hijack a car from 1967. Not going to happen. Everything's manual.
That's what I was thinking about driving home. Well, all day today. You know, I got a 2022 CRV, and I'm gonna trade it back. I want to get a Chevy Avalanche without all the crap. I got a freaking computer screen in my car, but it's like, you know, at some point, any car that has that equipment in it is gonna need software updates, and it's gonna be phased out. You're either gonna have to pay for the new software updates, or you're gonna have to get a new car. So it's going to be like a laptop or anything else. It's you know, meant to fail after a certain amount of time.
Here's the thing about these cars is that the control mechanism, how they can get that connection, is either through the port that's underneath the dash or through the radio. So if you just take out the factory radio, you know, you just take the factory radio and put a regular radio that doesn't have any connection to any of that crap, then you've killed off any Bluetooth connection, any, what do you call it? You could then control that. My car has a connection that does not shut off. The radio has a continuous thing. Like I can't go in and shut any of the internal services off. They're on all the time. So that's how they do it through these cars now. Especially German cars, any of these European cars, they're hack central.
This is kind of crazy.
Speaking of high-profile car accidents, trust me, don't go anywhere. Have you seen this? By the way, it's completely unrelated, not relevant whatsoever. It's really the second part you need to watch, but watch the whole thing. I actually just found out it's copyright. So let me tell you what he says in this interview. He's talking about the first part, how the CIA is controlling our phone, listening to what we're saying, our technology, our TVs, but even crazier and completely unrelated, he's talking about how the CIA can remote control your cars and your vehicles from wherever they are, make them go off cliffs, make them go into trees, etc., disappear. And before we get to the even more ridiculous part, it's not just your modern cars. They can control decades-old mechanical cars. Oh, you thought it had to be brand new cars? You have no idea the technology that these people have. For instance, artificial intelligence is not artificial, and they've been using it for centuries. Now on to a completely unrelated and separate topic. John from News Updates for Real made this insane video talking about this curse that follows anybody that fights Jake Paul for some reason. Want to hear how it gets really weird? They all end up having financial problems, deportation, sickness, and even death.
Wouldn't it be crazy if all of the fighters who fight Jake Paul end up befalling some sort of terrible tragedy shortly before or after the fight? Crazy if Mike Tyson almost died before the fight. He had 8 blood transfusions, lost half his blood. Nate Robinson went completely silent after Jake Paul's fight. Know if Ben Askren had lung failure and nearly died? Tyler Woodley declared bankruptcy. Tommy Fury had his life wrecked, marriage ended, career tanked.
It's like there's some element in the world that's opposing and against these people that are fighting Jake Paul. Completely unrelated from the first part of the video. I really wonder what that element could be.
It was unrelated, but that is interesting.
It's interesting. Nate Diaz is fine.
See, this is an example part of the little nuance there. The CIA can do this. Okay, well, we all pretty much know the record. Where does all tech come from? First and foremost, the military.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To debunk that, Nate Diaz and Mike Perry, two of his other opponents, are just fine, handsomely paid. But anyway.
Except for that flaming case of Asian VD he caught.
Right.
The CIA.
What do you think he meant? What do you think he meant by being able to have the technology to control the older cars, like analog kind of?
Well, they had no computer systems in them, so there's no connections to anything.
No way to remote.
I wonder how. Right. Okay.
All these cars now are all. I watched the guy at the car dealership with mine not even plug something into it. He just put the suction cup on the windshield and tapped a couple things and got right into the car to update the code without plugging anything in at all. He did it through the Bluetooth and the radio. That's how he was able to do it.
What year did they start having these autos that, okay, you go to Joe mechanic and they started having these computers to hook up and
late 2000. Well,
no, it was before that.
No,
ODB.
I remember they had that little sensor thing you could put in it back in the late 80s, early 90s. It was a little
ODB port.
Yeah, you plug in and tell you what was wrong with the car.
But what you plugged in had to be a cabled thing. It's not these cars.
My friend had just this little box with a little jack sticking off of it. And it was battery operated, and you just stuck it in there, and it came up with a code, and then you just looked in this book, and it told you what the fuck that code meant.
But I think they might. I think they might even be able to, with all the chemtrails. I mean, these are radio receivers now. That shit. Maybe I have a 1950s fucking fryer wire.
But here's the thing, Sav, with that is that he had to plug that into the port, and then to get it to work. These ones now, you don't even need to plug it into the port anymore. They could just go right through the radio and do it. So I figured out that if you just remove the factory radio, it shuts that shit off. Just put an aftermarket radio in it, and there's the problem gone. And then now you're forcing them to plug it into the port. That's different. If it's something manually to plug in, or if it's just something that's on constantly that you can't shut off, then yeah, they could just hack your shit if they were sitting next to you. Make your car just floorboard. Nothing is manual.
I remember back, when was this? It was probably 89 or 90. And I was working at this engineering company. I was a detailer there. And the guy that I detailed for, this guy named Gene Zink. And he was he'd been in engineering for like years and years and years. And he was telling me that back in the 60s, when they were first starting to come out with disc brakes, and they were working on having a system for disc brakes, they'd have a problem and they couldn't figure it out. But every so often when they go down the road and testing these things out, they're testing it on the freeway, that for no reason at all, that these the calipers would close down and close up on the disc. And what they found out was that it was a certain radio frequency from the CB truckers, that when that was being used and somebody keyed up and broadcast within a certain range of the car, that it would lock the brakes up. He said they ended up having to put RF protectant.
RFID.
Yeah, to shield it from any radio frequencies.
It said that, I looked it up, it said that 1999 was the first year Chrysler 300 had Bluetooth car stereos.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's got one that you can't shut it off. So when you try to go in and shut off the Wi-Fi connection, because it has a Wi-Fi connection in the radio, you cannot shut it off at all. So it's on all the time. Even if you try to go in and say, shut the Wi-Fi connection off, I'm never going to connect anything to it. You can't. There's no option to shut it off. And when the guy rolled it in, I said, you guys used to use the port thing? He goes, oh, no. And he just suction cups it to the windshield, and he tapped a few things, and he was already in the system of the car without plugging anything into the port or anything. And
see, that's scary as shit. You could, you're parked someplace and inside, you're not paying attention. Somebody goes out there and hacks into your vehicle like that, just taps in some shit. Oh,
so I did a little searching, and I found out that basically if you just remove the factory radio and put an aftermarket radio with an aftermarket dash kit, it'll take that feature out, and you basically just bypass it. So that way, you're forcing them to plug it back in.
You got to take into factor too, you're also carrying around what with you most of the time? A cell phone.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a transfer hub.
Yeah. And I think the current purchase contracts, when you buy, it's probably been quite a while. If you even do anything like you're speaking of on a late model car, the warranty's voided. The whole fucking car, there you go.
Years ago,
you can't touch it. You can't touch it.
Years ago, Chevrolet, when Chevrolet was the first company that had direct connections to the insides of the cars through the GM thing that they had there, that OnStar.
Yeah, I remember
people were figuring out ways to bypass it, where they would, police cars and taxis didn't have that OnStar system in it. The OnStar system was basically made so they could shut your car down if you were driving down the highway. So they could shut the fuel pump off, and the car would just shut off, and you'd roll to a stop and get on the ground and do that bullshit. Well, they figured out that the taxis and the police cars didn't have those systems in it. So whenever police cars or taxis would show up in the scrap yards, people would go and pull the computers out, swap the computer into their car, so it didn't have the OnStar, fuel bypass. It would just delete it. And then they started to tell people that if you do this, you're actually breaking some kind of contract that you signed when you bought the car. And I was like, wow.
Mm.
So I never bought another GM. I was like, I'm done. No more GM. I
Well,
haven't bought one since.
GM invented aren't they the prime supplier traditionally for the DoD anyway? Jeep and such.
Yeah, General Motors.
Daimler, GM.
Chrysler's Jeep now.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Stellantis, which is a bunch of different brands: Jeep, Chrysler, Mini,
Fiat.
a bunch of different ones. German
Fiat.
now.
Fiat's in there with them too.
Yeah,
Well,
Fiat.
all these so-called car manufacturers are out of precious Detroit, the American whole narrative there. We had these vehicles before, as we know.
Well, that's the way of the world now. Everything's merging basically because nobody can run a business anymore.
Just for reference point, Stellantis is a merger of Fiat Chrysler, which is Jeep, Ram, Dodge, Chrysler, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Peugeot, Citroen, Opel, Vauxhall, Maserati, Lancia, and DS automobiles, and Arbath.
Stuff you never have.
Well, a lot of them are owned by Chinese entities now. They bought up a lot of the I think the Hummer and who knows, whatever.
Yeah,
We showed a Chinese electric vehicle on here the other night.
Oh, they're
Man,
nice.
You just
They are
you
nice.
just make your hand.
Uh-oh.
He froze.
Stop froze.
Froze up.
He'll be
I've
back
driven,
soon,
I've
guys.
driven a few. I've driven a few in Thailand. I mean, I've driven Tesla. I'm not against electric cars, other than what that's really behind it. But I tell you, man, these BYDs are they're nice,
BYD.
man.
Okay, there we go.
You want me to tell you that? Let me tell you the scariest story I've heard to date about electric cars was
Everybody froze.
you remember
Fuck.
you remember
Is this thing
the
getting ready to pooch on me?
can everybody good? Can you hear Saab?
His screen's froze, but we can hear you, Saab.
Yeah. So the craziest thing I've heard to date was, do you remember when the bridge got hit by the cargo ship, right? That knocked down the bridge in Boston.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
so come to find out, the person that owned that ship, right, and the cargo on it, well, his daughter was backed into her Tesla. The window rolled up. She couldn't. Her doors were locked. Couldn't get out, and it backed her. It left her window cracked or something like that, and backed her down. Took off, right? And they got the black box data, but it took off, backed her into the lake, and drowned her. So there was something crazy going on with that. I don't know if y'all remember ever hearing anything about that, but yeah,
I didn't hear
that's
nothing
the
about
crazy.
that.
I don't get the connection between that and the Baltimore bridge crash.
It was it was the daughter of the guy that was having trouble with, how they wouldn't let anybody off the ship, and there was something going on. I think it was something to do with trafficking. I think, and then
where were they going to go on that ship?
I don't know, but yeah, they ended up. His daughter got backed into a thing. It's the last they found out through the black box. But anyway, I don't know if it's anything major but it was just a car that did her in. Yeah. So
the last GM I owned was a GMC, and it was a transmission hell. It was electronic transmission. It was the worst vehicle I had ever in my life. I had continuous problems with it, so I just wrote it out until I could get rid of it. And as soon as I was able to, as soon as the warranty was out, I was like, "Yep, get rid of this thing." And I went and bought a Japanese car. I haven't had one problem since. That GMC was probably at the dealership probably 24 times for transmission problems. It's continuous.
Good
I was
old
like,
Toyota. Oh, sorry.
Never doing that again. I got Nissans. I have yet to have one problem. Not one.
You guys know the old school alter. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Sal.
I knew a guy that he used to do the interior framing for us down in when we was working down by Fredericksburg and shit. And he broke over 200,000 miles on that truck, and it was still running. Yeah, that was going over the mountain every day during the week and coming back over the mountain in one of them little Nissan pickup trucks.
Yep.
That thing,
nice.
Guy named Gary
Little four-cylinder?
Yeah, I was like, man, I says, you ought to offer that, you know, when you trade it in, they ought to give you some kind of a discount, and they could actually display that and like, look at this guy put over 200,000 miles.
Like an antique, yeah.
You know?
Nice. Is it 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say every GM car I had in the 1990s, everything I ever had, because I always got Oldsmobiles or Cadillacs. I never had one of those cars that didn't go 190, you know, without burning oil like crazy. Or, you know, I never ever had a problem with Oldsmobiles or Buicks. Those cars ran forever.
Buick is a good one.
I think the American car peak was basically the 50s and 60s. I mean, look at the 70s cars, and that's when the Japanese cars started coming over to the. And since then, the American brands are
Datsun, Subaru, and Nissan were the first ones. Subaru was the first one, I think, to come in.
I remember seeing the very first Hondas. My dad, a friend of his that he used to race motorcycles with, had a motorcycle dealership, and he was the first one in the area to have a batch of these cars. And let me tell you something, they looked like a Mini. They were small like a Mini. The very first ones, I mean, they almost looked like a little clown car. And I can remember in elementary school, one of our teachers had one. And at recess, at lunch, a bunch of us guys got together and we took her car and picked it up and rotated it 90 degrees in the parking spot. So it was right in between two other parked cars, but perpendicular to it. So she had to wait.
Saw my buddy from high school bought a Yugo. Remember the Yugo?
Yeah, my brother.
He bought one.
My brother and I was riding along. We worked together at this tubing factory. And I remember I was riding along with him. It was about this time of year. And this was up in Michigan. And we come to this there's one intersection on the way there that was just a T, right? It didn't go all the way through. There was a lake on the other side of the intersection. And so it was either a left turn or a right turn. And we come up on that fucking thing. The light was red and we was having to go right. And my brother went to hit the brake, and all of a sudden that brake pedal just went ka-chunk right to the floor. And there was no brakes. And we went around that corner. He took that turn, and I shit you not, that little car come up on two wheels for a minute and then drop back down. And then the brakes was fine.
Oh shit.
Then the brakes worked fine, no problem. I was like, are you
I bet that scared the crap out of y'all though.
I thought that was it. So we either going for a spin or a roll, one of the two. That's no other
You know,
option.
I had speaking of Hondas, I drove a Prelude for a little while. It was 95, and this was I think like 2001, sometime before my accident. But anyway, and we were, it was me and my girlfriend. We were going to Raven County, where I lived, or well, where my parents lived at the time. We were going to see them during the holidays. You know, just taking a trip up. But anyway, I'll try to land it here, but just never hit the brakes in a light car like that going on any kind of ice, because yeah, those little bitty 4-cylinder Hondas, they lose traction pretty quick.
Yeah, man.
That's the story. I ended up hitting a guardrail, and oh man, it was crazy. I was too stoned to drive, but anyway.
So we all know I was just gonna where I was going. We all know that like none of these people like Trump and those characters, that they're actually the ones that are tweeting, you know, and putting out tweets and shit like that. Usually they have somebody that is representing them doing this. And I have to wonder about some of this cryptic shit. This is why I asked about that Truth Social a minute ago. Some of the cryptic shit that Trump puts out on that fucking thing, or whoever tweets for him puts out. I mean, are they trying to send a message? I wonder, because this is kind of weird. Let me show you this real quick.
What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? I hate this shit. I'm fine. Listen, so Trump posted this about the windmills killing all our beautiful bald eagles. First of all, this is a falcon. Secondly, where the fuck is this windmill? I'll show you. This picture is from an article from December of 2017.
Oh, we don't see a picture of
Remember
Soft.
that. The windmill is from Israel, described
it.
in the article, and the
out
writing
of
on
sync,
the
too.
side, but the date
Yeah.
that is on the picture that he posted said 9/11 2000 something. What? So what? Is America dead? Is this some kind of like clue? Hate this shit. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I don't want to do this shit anymore. Are you under duress? That's what this whole thing about pardoning Bibi was about. The Israel windmills, are they killing America? Is Israel killing America? Did they kill Charlie Kirk? It's a falcon. National bird in Israel is a hoopy or something. It looks like a road runner. Metaphorical? Is it prophecy? Is it prophetic? Did we manually add the date because this is not the date of the picture? Because the picture belongs to the article from 2017. Confirmation that Israel is behind 9/11? What is that? Did we lose? Is that what we're saying?
Can y'all see it? Okay.
Is it over?
Okay.
Fuck it. Total tax
Yeah,
revolt.
I mean, it's a little.
I just see the moon, but
It's choppy. It's not fluid.
It was choppy.
okay.
Yeah, it was a little buffering, but I mean, other than that, you could hear it fine.
I'm gonna drop down and come back in because I can't see none of it. I'll be.
All right, let me see.
I just can't deal with somebody getting so dramatically upset over rabbit holes. Being okay, yeah, it's a female, I get it, but slow down, woman.
I want to see.
She's a looker.
TikTok is a bipolar fit.
Wow, I wonder why that was playing so slow like that. It sucks.
Might have had something because you were choppy a minute ago. Maybe it's your.
Yeah, I think I was having some problems, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop out and come back in.
Right.
Yeah, I think your upstream is.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Alrighty. You guys
But
ever
yeah, it
watch
was-
that? You remember that movie Gung Ho with Michael Keaton, where he has to go overseas and convince those Japanese businessmen to.
Oh yeah. The car company. Yeah, I remember that.
movie was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
That's a wicked rare movie too. I've only
Mhm.
seen it like once or twice.
Yeah, it's like a cult classic type of thing.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good. I have a good movie collection. That's a good. I love watching over and
Yeah.
over.
What was that? Michael Keaton's got some good ones. There's that one where he's like in that insane asylum. Well, I think he's a prisoner. I'm trying to remember the name of
Let
it
me
now.
see how this plays.
And he
Much
breaks
better.
up. Oh yeah.
I'll
Good.
bring us
Yeah, 'cause
back.
I can see your mouth is actually going with what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, because I had a couple glitches out, and maybe that's what did it. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens here real quick.
What the fuck is going on?
Is that better?
What the fuck is going
Mhm.
on?
Yeah.
I hate this shit. I'm fine. Listen, so Trump posted this about the windmills killing all our beautiful bald eagles. First of all, this is a falcon. Secondly, where the fuck is this windmill? I'll show you. This picture is from an article from December of 2017. December of 2017. Remember that. The windmill is from Israel, described in the article, and the writing on the side, but the date that is on the picture that he posted said 9/11 2000 something. What? So what? Is America dead? Is this some kind of like clue? Hate this shit. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I don't want to do this shit anymore. Are you under duress? That's what this whole thing about pardoning Bibi was about. The Israel windmills, are they killing America? Is Israel killing America? Did they kill Charlie Kirk? It's a falcon. National bird in Israel is a hoopy or something. It looks like a road runner. Metaphorical? Is it prophecy? Is it prophetic? Did we manually add the date because this is not the date of the picture? Because the picture belongs to the article from 2017. Confirmation that Israel is behind 9/11? What is that? Did we lose? Is that what we're saying? Is it over? Fuck it. Total tax revolt. Fuck it.
Well, I did it 18 years ago.
Yeah, same here. I
haven't paid taxes since 2008.
Dude, the black people up in Chicago are furious. They are trying to protest and revolt, saying they're not going to pay taxes anymore because they keep giving away. It's like they're seeing through all it.
So I think most people across the spectrum do believe that Whoopi Goldberg is tweeting and Donald. These are PR agents.
They do. They believe that.
But this lady went up at one of the council meetings or whatever and is going off on Brandon Johnson, who's the mayor of Chicago, but not like he's the only. I mean, they're all actors, but she's like, we're revolted. It's like we're not paying taxes anymore. It's like you keep giving all our damn money away and taking away our resources. I mean, it's kind of hilarious when you think about it.
I don't know. I just file it with the clerk. What evidence do you have that I'm a resident, citizen, or anything like that? Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah, I just made myself exempt. That's it. Like,
Yep.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I don't know. Homeland Security says there's no evidence that legal fiction name is a U.S. citizen. So I don't know how I can be exempt. Well,
They were putting letters out a long time ago telling anybody that if they didn't figure out that was the case, then don't tell anybody.
Well,
Don't ask, don't tell.
can we add Zelensky and Bibi Netanyahu to our dependents this year on our tax form? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah,
Good
no
idea.
shit.
No, that's the thing. I'm with you, man. I just don't do taxes.
Yeah, exempt.
Yep.
I remember the lady from
501c3.
I remember the lady from work having a seizure when she was calling me and saying, "I think there's something wrong. You got to come down here." And I went down and I was like, "What's the matter?" She said, "It says here you're exempt. I don't think you can't do that." I was like, "What are you talking about? Of course I can." She's like, "No, you can't do that. You have to pay taxes. Everybody." I was like, "No. I don't.
Oh God,
I don't make enough."
And then if you're one of those people that's not that stupid, because this need to be a genius to figure this out. But then you're going to get the left and the right. Like, you don't pay your fair share. What is this fair share? Is it 1%, 20, 30, 45? Please tell me this fair share.
Pay the tithe.
And what's fair about it? What did you do to deserve it? What the fuck is that? What do you mean fair share? You act like you did something for me.
All these people that come into government too, man, they get paid more than enough, handsome salary of 170,000, I think, and then a couple of years later they walk away as millionaires.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
okay,
That happened.
yeah.
From all that fucking donor money, see, donor money, gifts and bribes, shit like
And
that.
all your Delaware corporations, your Minnesota registered to names. Funny, Minnesota's getting under fire too. Gee, I wonder why. I know
Like
a little
they're
bit
the
about
only
it.
ones.
That would be a good one. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to look for that. Hang on.
That's countrywide. That
Yeah.
isn't just there.
That's
That's everywhere.
And not only that, Trump
Oh,
should
of
be
course.
responsible too.
No, but what
Listen.
I'm gonna like, because I mean, I think a lot of people know about what a Delaware corporation is, right? And why it's Delaware, because every state. So basically, these United States.
We're all corporations.
It's like McDonald's. Yeah, they're all incorporated, every county. But all these different states, they kind of have, in terms of the legal industry, they all have their own little thing, so that the corporate world. Okay, so basically, almost 90% of companies will create the name in Minnesota. They register the corporate structure in Delaware, because this state has it's all these little loopholes that they know how to use.
All right, so here's maybe we'll have to do a movie night with this one night. This is a good one. I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. The Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah, I never watched that one.
It is okay. So it's like a comedic type,
like Bullworth,
an adaptation. I would say a comedy adaptation of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And I did post that, right? Okay. Let me put it over here too, in case you're something.
Kind of like Bullworth.
A little bit, except for the fact that so what it is Eddie Murphy's part of this gang of 3 people, and his name, they're grifters. Okay, they set up cons and they do different cons and screw people out of money, that kind of thing. They're grifters, right? Okay, so what happens is that this guy, he has the same name. His name is Jeff Jeffries in the movie, and he has the same name as the senator or the representative or whatever from that area, that district, who has the same name. And he's been in office for years, right? Well, the guy fucking dies. But most people vote on name recognition, like who the incumbent was. They'll just vote for the incumbent or who they think it is. Well, he goes ahead and gets on the ballot in place of this guy because the guy died. And they have and the old guy that the guy that has the same name that was in the Senate or whatever for so long, he's he's a real stodgy conservative white guy. And Eddie Murphy is the guy they end up electing. And they're like, what the fuck? Well, he gets in there and he starts seeing how it's really run and how they can make all this money. You know, it's like, because his aide comes up to him and says, okay, so we have a meeting with the Israel, whatever lobby said they'll give you so many $1,000s if you vote yes on this, and another one is only offering this amount. He goes, okay, so we vote yes, right? He goes, absolutely. And I mean, it's just like he shows how the whole grift is doing, but then he has like a kind of a crisis of conscience, and he ends up busting out the Speaker of the House. Because he's like, holy shit, I thought I was a con man. These motherfuckers are the masters, man. They're screwing everybody. This is fucked up. So it's a good movie. I put the link in the chat. It's from 1992, but it's funny too because Eddie Murphy's a hoot anyhow.
Okay, I like Eddie.
But you remember a while ago where there was that one document that was uncovered that said, I wonder if Bibi, it was an email. And I guess it was with Epstein's brother and somebody else. And somebody in the conversation asked, I wonder if Bibi still has, I wonder if Putin still has that video of, or pictures of Trump blowing Bubba.
Oh, yeah.
And, I was like, now, where would they do that? Like on a boat or something, because I don't doubt it because these people are freaks.
Yeah.
And then it hit me, and I saw this right here, Bohemian Grove, man.
On a checkerboard, I would imagine.
Maybe whatever they do in that grove.
It's all ritualistic. I don't even think it has to do. Well, it's definitely not love making or connection or any of that.
Tapping the root chakra. It's tapping the root chakra, the lowest vibration in the body, right there.
Yeah,
it's a harnessing of a demon. Yep. Where it hits you right there in the root chakra, which just happens to be right where your ass is.
I got a cool, when you get done with this, I got a short little story connected to that.
There is already a mountain of evidence that Donald Trump is a piece of shit, pedophilic, fucking sexual assault asshole. Like there's testimony evidence. Like there's so much shit linking him to that kind of fucking shit and to Epstein before the emails. So why do you think they're so fucking scared now? Like, we've never seen them act like this. We've never seen him act like this. Freaking the fuck out, just running from reporters. Be like, you shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. Yeah, okay. Blowing Bill Clinton or like whoever Bubba was. Yeah, that would fuck his base. But it's worse than that. Because they could spin that too. They've spun the rest of it. There's so much of it and they've spun it. You know what they can't spin? Demonic ritualistic cults. Those files are blood, torture, probably sacrifices, demon blood, cult magic, worship, like crazy shit. No way to spin that. No way to spin putting a fucking costume on and going out into the fucking middle of the woods and sacrificing something to Baal.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah,
Aaron said, having a bad day? No, I have a demon up my root chakra.
But this has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This is how you climb the corporate ladder. This is how you become a colonel and a full bird. This is how it works. Oh, but they told me, my grandmother told me, just go to school, study hard, work hard, and you can be the president.
Yeah.
Oh, really, Graham?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Really?
Or an astronaut.
Eric, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just going to say, Eric, my parents raised me like I was born in the 50s, and I was born in the 70s. And it took me
Same
probably
here.
15 years to figure out that everything they told me did not apply at the time that I was raised.
Yeah.
So I was a little behind.
My mother will tell me that I could crawl forward and backwards, but I just kept crawling backwards. And she's like, man, you were trying to get back in the womb. You're always you had a good childhood, but I was just trying to go into the forest and get me I know I've been hearing this fucking bullshit before. I don't know how it works, but no, this place is weird, man. By middle school, I'm like, what you're saying, teacher?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Contradictions.
Yeah.
You sent me to Catholic school. You put me in the public education. My dumbass even went to fucking Paris Island. That didn't work. I don't know, man. You just can't MK Ultra me.
Yeah,
fall for it, maybe?
the unprogrammable. The
Yeah.
unprogrammable. I'm like that too.
You got it.
So you were just asking a minute ago about, where would they do that? Where would he blow Bubba, right?
Yeah.
So I can't verify this, but it's interesting nonetheless. So maybe or maybe not, you guys remember Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey when they got married?
Yeah.
Okay. So when they got married, MTV put them up in this house. I think it was called The Newlyweds. I can't remember the show. But anyway, they put them up in this house, right? And supposedly they used that house. They didn't own the house or nothing. It was just a house that they filmed stuff in. And basically they filmed like celebrities and other, higher up people come there and blackmail them, right? They just get a bunch of film on them, blackmail them, doing whatever, all kinds of crazy shit. That's kind of where the P. Diddy stuff came from. So anyway, it turns out, like I said, I can't verify this, that how recently that Rob Reiner, his son, killed him and his wife or whatever. Well, supposedly there was these emails that came out, that leaked out, and maybe or maybe not, he was the one that leaked out all these people that were getting blackmailed, and that was the reason why his dad, found out about all that stuff, and that's maybe or maybe not the reason why that whole incident happened. So, maybe a situation, where did he blow Bubba? Maybe one of those type of houses, maybe on a yacht, somebody's yacht somewhere, and they blackmail these people. And then from there on out, you're compromised, like we all know they are. Maybe what's up?
I can tell you one sort of place, 1992, Peter Gation's club opening USA, where, damn straight, Donnie, I was there with you, and Peter Gation, and Epstein, and Madonna, and a bunch of long list of stuff.
What about that? What was that club in New York, that real famous?
I was just going to say that.
Club USA,
the Disco Club.
Limelight,
54?
Peter Gation.
Club 54. Studio 54.
Yep.
Yeah, that was before my time and your time. And I was allegedly born in 71. My first memory is around 73. So I don't know. But Club USA, Peter Gation, 1992, Donald Trump was there, Jeffy. Yeah, Mega. Hey, Donnie, did you or did you not did we share some cocaine there in the back room?
Oh,
Among
that's
other
it.
things.
Yeah, he was,
Donald,
they say on the Celebrity Apprentice, he was all the time bumping Adderall.
Yeah, but but he's such a pure. Well, I'm not a Christian, but I don't know.
Yeah,
and you don't need to
he's not.
vote. I love my Christians. I'm not Christian, but
He's not.
But he's such a man of God. He's sent by Christ because his ears scratch. I mean, these people are psychopaths. These Christian national. I don't even know what to call them.
I know, brainwashed.
It's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Always.
There you go. just eat a little bit of arsenic every day. That's all you have to do. It's not. See, it didn't hurt. Yeah, go ahead and have your daily dose. See, and pretty soon you die.
That one lady, I think her husband was like a doctor or something. She was doing that, like feeding him a little bit of poison every day. But he caught on to it before he passed on. But yeah.
This is the story about Lake Michigan. It's not going away.
It's been like a week since we all found out, and you're telling me the Trump team still doesn't have a defense against the idea that allegedly he aided in the group SAing and murder of his newly born child and disposing its body in Lake Michigan. Their only defense after like a week of us talking about this is didn't happen. You don't have an alibi. You don't have anything put together to say like, hey, this just isn't true, and we can prove it's not true because of all of these different things. Meanwhile, we have all this information that says he has access to boats that would have been going out to Lake Michigan around that time. We have evidence that he was out there doing things. We have the fact that he went out on Lake Michigan through special permission from, get this, Bill Clinton. We have all these records that prove that he was in the place at the time, that it is in line with his patterns of behavior, that this is something that he would have no problem doing, considering the fact that he often harms children through his policymaking all the time. And sure, none of this is direct proof that he did what is alleged in that file. However, it should be pretty easy for such a rich public figure to produce proof that he wasn't there and didn't have means and motive. And they aren't fucking doing it. Like, they could have buried this whole story. In fact, they knew that this information was going to be released, and they released it without even trying to think of a game plan. That's fucking crazy, which again just speaks more to the fact that he did it. Like, you're telling me you can't even think of a good reason to think that he didn't? You can't come up with a narrative to the contrary? Look, I understand innocent until proven guilty, but that's in a court of law. You don't have to allow someone to keep their job when you're pretty sure they're guilty of infanticide, especially when infanticide would have been just one of the many crimes that you are well aware that they have already committed. Like, private companies are quicker to get rid of their executives when shit like this becomes public, and many of those private companies participated in the crimes themselves. Meanwhile, we need to leave this guy in the most powerful position on earth for what? Even just the reasonable suspicion should be enough to get him fucking fired. So let's get him the fuck out already.
Can't say I don't disagree.
What's this leader of the free world, the most
I don't get
powerful
that either.
position on earth? Really?
What the hell is the free world anyway?
Well, here's the big question. What's the unfree world? That's the
everybody we don't like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Anything that's not a capitalist democracy republic, I guess. Even though North Korea calls itself a democratic people's republic of, and that's why I love these patriots. We got to restore the republic. Why? Why? China's a what? What is this republic democracy stuff?
To keep you under the thumb forever.
Just another form of control. That's all it is. It's either somebody making the decision for you, or you thinking that you have that you have some control over things being done, when in reality you don't.
My voice matters. I voted. Yeah. Look at me. Participation.
Yeah. What did you change? Shit.
Vote for democracy. Democracy depends on it.
I mean, every time I would go, I would say, okay, we're going to get fucked either way. It doesn't really matter.
It's too bad that even their founding documents of this United States doesn't even talk about government. There's no legal definite. But we're from the government. Can you point to this government? Where is it? Mm-hmm. We're from the government. Yeah, a bunch of you are local, county, municipal, federal. This I'm just from the government.
Mm-hmm. You know, another cool thing about that.
It's all in the mind.
Going to the Capitol building today. So that library there is freaking awesome. I can't wait to show you guys some pictures. I'm sure a bunch of you have seen them anyway. They got the spiral staircases, and it's like four stories high. But guess what? So if you're an Iowa resident, which is BS when I tell you this, but if you're an Iowa resident and you got a library card, you can check the books out there, right? So I ran across, they had all the Black's Law Dictionary books right there, right? So I took some pictures of it, what I could and stuff. Guess what are the only, or not the only, but one of the ones that you can't check out? The Black's Law Dictionaries, right? Interesting, huh?
They've removed all that from the jails and stuff. Actually,
that's interesting too.
New York State penal military. Oh, which isn't even positive. By the way, do the research. There's not one state of penal code that is positive law. And if you're not positive law, and it's not.
Well, I'd say that what law is positive.
I guess we could say natural, universal, if you want to say God's law or Allah, whatever.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
Laws of nature. Those are the top ones, and then maybe common law if I'm allegedly part of your tribe. But other than that, well, what's common to you and me? I don't know. I don't butt fuck. I don't know. Maybe that's your common law.
Right.
So a lot of people say that common law. You got to be careful with that. I mean,
the question is,
go ahead. Yeah.
What's uncommon law?
Right.
What are you, opposite man, D man? Come on.
Yeah, you got to be on it, man. Somebody
You always get the same.
got to give it every angle.
Well, we just need to stop. I'm telling you right now, government is the biggest problem. If you don't have it, then there's a problem that's gone. You see?
Yeah, you brought up what was it you that brought up what
Well, the government is everything that they're supposed to be protecting you from.
Yeah, no, you brought
Realize that?
up John, what's his name from Here's the Deal. Was it you on your channel that
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
brought it up?
Brian Young's.
Yeah, I like his new well, basically governments that tyrant criminal organization that you wanted the government to protect you from or something. Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's like, yeah, they're the very enemy they were supposed to protect you from. And it's
Exactly.
exactly it.
They're telling you not to do it, but they're doing it, and they're
Right.
allowed to do it to you.
Rules
Which is even hilarious.
Me. Anyway, this was pretty good too.
And they're
That's
immune.
the enemy of civilization right there. We're breaking Gaza apart, leaving it as a pile of rubble, with total unprecedented destruction in the world, and the world still hasn't stopped us. So that's their view on it right there.
When you say genocide, you're not guessing. It's not like some propaganda term. It's the definition. And we know that not just from the video of its victims, but from the testimony of the people perpetrating it. He's saying we're killing people and leveling the country in order to move the population out. So how is that different from saying there's certain people in my capital city I don't want here, I'm going to put them on trains and move them east? There's no difference. People are being killed and expelled from the place where they were born because of their bloodline.
Yeah.
We reject that. We do not kill people or expel them or put them on trains or put them in internment camps or move them to, quote, third countries, as Smochers just said, because of how they were born.
Yeah.
Exactly, because of their bloodline. Because we don't accept that because we're Christians. We think that every person was created as an individual and judged as an individual, period.
Really? See, this is right there, number one. Because I'm sorry, if you look at the Abrahamic death cult in its entirety, and I'm not picking on people, but wow, slavery, human, let's see, World War I, World War II, native genocide. That's pretty much the Western Abrahamic. It's definitely not Buddhists that do much of that stuff.
No.
But that Abrahamic Yahweh God, man, put these people on. Really, Tucker, we don't do that.
Not supposed to. Well, it depends. There again, like I said, so many Christians give Christianity a bad name. They really do. And they think they're pious as shit, but they're not. They're just following a tagline. They're not really practicing as they preach. They're just trying to look good, you know?
So why did so many foot soldiers of the Roman papal bullshit go around the Mediterranean killing the early Christians, like the Gnostics and the Huguenots, and oh my God,
Well, because it's actually true Christianity is a threat to government. You take all that bullshit with Paul and his authoritarian crap. He was an agent, man. He was an agent.
Ooh.
You really
Yeah, I've
look
looked
into
into
this.
that thing.
Yeah, I mean, you really look into this, and the reality of it is, if you really look into it, and think about it, I believe Jesus was an anarchist, man, 100%. You know,
Yeah, you could call him
what's the law of God? You see, what's the law of God? You know, what would fuck all this dumb shit that men have made? What's the law of God? You see,
well, it's pretty blatant that what this Christ, Nazareth, whatever. I don't want to get into that debate, but this figure, this character, I agree, was definitely, we could call him a anarchist, a rebel, Buddha Shiva, you know, same like a Buddha, enlightened one, maybe an alien.
Peaceful resistance,
Yeah.
peaceful disobedience. It was basically what he had going on. He did throw some hands a little bit there with the people in the temple there selling shit, money changers.
Here's the big thing. I've read that book, different versions, front to back. It's pretty clear to me that the words that Christ was saying is like, no, man, that Yahweh, that the El, no, that ain't no, that's not the same, man.
Yeah.
All that old desert super. No, I'm here to fuck. No, But
No,
I don't know.
Just real quick here though.
I brought this up real quick so you could just look at it. The largest oil reserves in the world are in Venezuela. Largest oil producer in Africa, Nigeria. One of the largest undeveloped rare earth mineral deposits outside of China is Greenland. What's this motherfucker had his sights set on?
All three.
Right? Right?
Yeah, wasn't there? Oh, they're killing Christians in Nigeria. He said last week.
Blew up a bunch of fucking Christians is what he did on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Think about that. He did that shit on Christmas Eve.
So Christian of him.
Yes. Guy. What a fucking guy.
Ugh.
It's amazing though. This is and he thinks that we're too dumb. Oh yeah, here's where it was. Oh yeah, it was only $1.25. Okay. This is that thing I was trying to tell you about with the minimum wage. And it was $1.25. That's right. Let me bring this up here real quick.
I will say I paid $1.81 in gas.
No shit, for a gallon of gas. This will blow your
that
mind.
was in Iowa.
This is crazy.
Not in Illinois.
I'm going to blow your mind with some facts about money real quick. This is $1.25. This is minimum wage in the 1960s, but you'll notice something special about these quarters. They are all made of silver. This is what you would expect to get. Now, what is the current modern day 2025 equivalent of this? Well, one of these quarters is worth about $14, which means $70 per hour is the equivalent of 5 silver quarters. This is what a man would make in the 1960s, the bare minimum, which means if a man worked all day, he would make $560, which means if a man works 8 hours a week for 5 days a week, that's $2,800 at the end of the week. Do that for 52 weeks, that's $145,000 bare minimum. Minimum wage today is only $7.25 an hour. That means half of a silver quarter. Now, most men today make more than minimum wage. They make more than half a silver quarter an hour, but most men do not make 5 silver quarters in an hour. That is not going to happen. That's the equivalent of $70 an hour. That is not the world we live in. The dollar does not have the value and the spending power that it used to. Politicians for decades, for our entire lives, have been devaluing the dollar each and every election cycle. They spend and spend and spend. They're more focused with appeasing voters and getting reelected than they are in putting the power back into this quarter right here. Our founding fathers warned against generational debt and ruining of currency and devaluation. So let's do ourselves a favor and our grandchildren. Let's not do like our grandparents and just push the problem down the line so we have to deal with it because they failed to deal with the money problems that our country created. Let's make America great again by making this valuable again.
Can I jump in on this for a second?
Yo.
The initial idea is that you have the coin, it's in your hand. The value is not the coin itself. I could make that coin out of camel shit or a chunk of wood. That's not the value of it because somebody said it's the value. The value was the material that the coin was made out of.
Exactly.
That was the actual value. And a lot of people today don't know that.
And actually, it's good that you're using the coin because that's what traditionally, during the civilization, it was coinage. It was like they were using coins.
Yeah.
Gold has traditionally been a stored value. Like coin, silver was for the. So let's just go back to the Greco-Roman. Basically, the landlord, the master, kept gold and real estate. Now his servants, slaves, whatever you want to call them, they'd go down to the market with coinage. Credit. No, I'm sorry. Dave is Saab is a landowner, and maybe I'm another elite, whatever. I want to buy, so we'd trade in silver, maybe gold, but generally silver. Credit. That's what your slaves would go down there. But now
that's your paper.
Yeah. Debt. Well, it's paper's even worse. I mean, it's like that's the most. It's debt. It's a debt note. What people call money. But credit, letters of credit, is what your houseboy would go down to the market and get the milk and eggs and all that stuff. Dave and I, as landlords, the proletariat, we would buy and we'd exchange silver,
or sheep, or camels, or cows, or
right.
Yeah, you would do some kind of it was a barter system where you had an option to give equivalent to whatever you agree on. It's not like I could just suddenly say, "Well, how's this? I'll buy the house from you, but I'm going to pay you in sheep."
Yeah, well, see, that was why
emus.
they had to come up with some kind of a universal unit of exchange,
Yeah.
something that was value. And this is why they went to silver and gold, because, yeah, barter's a nice idea, but, you got blueberries and I got fucking cattle, I don't want any blueberries. So what that just takes you right out of the market, or you have to trade your blueberries for something that I want, and then in exchange take that.
Yes.
And then you
Equal
see, so
value.
it was a big mired mess. Whereas this way we had,
It's an ism again.
Yeah, a monetary system, basically.
Well, I might be grasping at straws, but basically, you look at the old world and it was coinage. There was none of this paper stuff, which I'm told that the Chinese invented. I'm suspicious of that, but it was
Popsicle
coinage.
sticks.
It was coinage. Yes, you're right. Some people used wood, but generally speaking, most coins were silver. Then it got into copper and maybe platinum, whatever. But silver, throughout time, has been the medium of exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Was he equating for, because like a quarter doesn't weigh an ounce, right? Was he equating like those quarters being like the value that
what their value in silver is right now?
Right, but a quarter doesn't weigh an ounce, and then the
It's like,
value
what do
that
they
he
call it? A troy
Yeah.
ounce. It's not a metric ounce. I think it's called a
I
troy
think,
ounce.
I think an ounce is like $70 or something like that right now.
Ron Paul was talking about this when Ron Paul was running years ago. Do you remember when Ron Paul was showing the equivalencies of what the coin was, the value compared to the? I remember when he was doing it when he was running in like 2004, he was talking about that, saying we should get out of this system because it's killing us. It's done nothing but lose value.
Read the old documents, like the real old, ecclesiastical stuff, and they don't talk about the nation or the state. It's the coin of the realm, which is completely different from the nation state, and all this post-modern whatever this crap they invented since the political system with these stupid political maps. Look at the old maps. Where's all these stupid borders that just magically go like this? These political maps, this is for children. They're coloring books, color by numbers. Oh, this is a Michigan.
Do you remember the Kennedy? Do you remember the Kennedy silver when Kennedy was issuing the $5 Kennedy?
Yeah.
$5. Weren't those metal backed, silver backed?
Silver backed, yeah. Silver certificates were what they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 71, the year I came allegedly into this stupid realm was
that was the
that was
petrodollar.
a big year. Yeah, that's when they took the gold standard or whatever.
Well, the petrodollar. I'm sorry, 1971.
They went off the gold standard and created they just pretty much established.
Yeah, now Saudi Arabia's backed out of the OPEC now. They just
they created BRICS, so
yeah,
they're getting out of our payment system also.
Yeah, he'd rather
They
get
don't want anything to
that
do
gold
with it.
for money, that oil for gold. Remember on the pizza index?
Yeah, pizza.
Okay, so they used to have the fucking gay bar thing on there too.
Yeah.
I was wondering, it's like, come on, man, there can't be that many of these people that's gay and shit. But I don't know. This is James O'Keefe, man. This is crazy. Listen to this.
Most people in DC are gay, and the ones who are not openly are secretly gay. And I know narcissist is an overused word, but let's be honest, we all have a little bit of narcissism in us. But in Washington, DC, and in politics in particular, people are so blinded by the love of power, and they're so in love with themselves that it's almost like they're in this little psychological cocoon, where they're not even paying attention to the guy across from them. They will literally not ask me one question about myself. These are Harvard-educated people, Georgetown professors, national security people with top secret clearances are sitting across from me, not asking me one question about me. Why? In short, they're in love with themselves. And it creates this weird veneer where they're making it all about them. So my undercover people, I give them a book. It's called It's Not About Me. And it's all about making it about the other guy. You just express genuine interest in them. And that's what nobody in politics actually does.
That's how he gets that dirt.
He knows the archetype for these people.
Yeah.
They love to brag and talk about themselves.
Look at you know what a geisha, you know, everybody knows what a geisha girl is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think that's really about?
It's about spying, honeypot type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
It's
more
the,
fruits than a citrus tree. Go ahead.
You can take that back to ancient Greece where you had the oracles. Ironically, we had a DoD contractor's oracle.
See, geishas save you the step because they already look like a dead hooker. So takes one step out of the equation.
Oh God.
Old Ted Kennedy would be.
One mortician said to the other, he says, "You want to stop off for a cold one?" Oh, shit.
Do they put that powder everywhere or just on their face? Because that's strange. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, really, I need to check.
And which ones of them are gay or bisexual, and which ones aren't bisexual or transsexual, which is all the same to me, but whatever.
Yeah, it's one big happy rainbow family.
Right.
They just wear comfortable shoes.
It's just come and poop everywhere.
White in the loafs.
This was crazy, dude. So you heard about when Marjorie Taylor Greene, she told Trump that either release the Epstein files or I'm going to start releasing names.
No.
And this was crazy. This is the report on it. There were people heard this.
You know, something caught my eye in this stunning new report in the New York Times about Marjorie Taylor Greene, where Marjorie Taylor Greene describes a conversation that she had with Donald Trump after a hearing about the Epstein files, where she threatened to list the names of the abusers in the Epstein files to the public, to tell the people who actually were the co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein. And Donald Trump apparently lost his mind and screamed at her, saying, "Those are my friends you'd be hurting. Do not do that." Let me show you this story. So here's the article if you want to read the full thing in the Times. It's called "I Was Just So Naive," inside Marjorie Taylor Greene's break with Trump, how the Georgia congresswoman went from the president's loudest cheerleader to his loudest Republican critic. So I want to highlight this portion of the article right here. It says, after the hearing, Greene held a news conference at which she threatened to identify some of the men who had abused the women. Greene says that she didn't know the names herself, but that she could have gotten them from the victims. Trump called Greene to voice his displeasure. Greene was in her Capitol Hill office, and according to a staff member, everyone in the suite of rooms could hear him yelling at her as she listened to him on speakerphone. Greene says she expressed her perplexity over his intransigence. According to Greene, Trump replied, "My friends will get hurt." Wow, wow, wow. If that's not a tell, I don't know what is, folks. This really brings you into the mindset of Trump a little bit. He views himself as a victim here for being an associate of Jeffrey Epstein. He views all of Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators, all the men around Jeffrey Epstein, as they are the victims, not the actual victims themselves. We're going to keep reporting on this and all the news, so make sure you're following our account and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
Yeah, one big dirty, shitty family. You got to remember, I said it before that he would just become he would just become the person who would be the honeypot, and that's kind of what's happened.
Listen, and there's some shit about this Billy Bush. You start getting into that, and these pageants and shit. Oh, come on, man. Come on, that's obvious now. And then now you got to equate that and think about these other pageants that these little toddlers that they do, and these little girls, and they got them all made up and doing these
Yeah,
everything else like that.
You know,
come on, those are auctions. Those are fucking auctions.
Dude.
And you know what's nice? The MAGA, good Christian, apple pie, God bless America people. Oh, that's a bunch of leftist, homosexual. Oh, really? What about those deep South, those little Christian Southern Baptists, Georgia Bell putting those little girls up?
Dude, they're catching so many of those fucking evangelical preachers and shit leaders of these.
Oh no, it's the liberal left. Come on, Sav,
Let me ask you, who was that girl that was on TV, the little chubby girl, and they had the stupid TV series? It was a little southern.
What was her name? What was her
Kitty
name?
Boo Boo or something like that?
Yeah, Honey Boo Boo. That's right.
Yeah. What about Shirley Temple?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
back in the 50s and shit.
When I worked maintenance in the I can't even talk. I worked maintenance in this hotel, and we would rent out the conference room, right? And one of those little pageant things rented out the conference room. Dude, I was going back to the past the room, and off to the left there's like a mom and her little kid. That kid was probably, I don't know, 5, 6, maybe a little older, not much. But she was just freaking laying into this kid, and this kid's crying, you know, like showing her how to dance. And this whole place looked like a glitter bomb went off in it. But anyway, it was so creepy how these parents treated these kids. It was just like, it's like, how do you do this to your child? It's like they're not even getting the opportunity to grow up in a normal life, you know?
No.
They're missing childhood altogether. On top of it, who knows what other weird shit you do, and, you know. Yeah, anyway,
This whole concept of grooming is not just about sex, and it's not just pedophilia. It's beauty. Oh, look, you're a little girl. You got to look like a Barbie, and you've got to walk
an
this
adult.
way.
They make them look like adults.
And then little boys, hey, here's a gun. You know, what do you want to be? I want to be a cop. I want to be a Marine. So this is the whole thing's grooming.
Yeah.
Oh, our family's Muslim. We're Southern Baptist. Stop grooming your progeny.
It's projection. I think a lot of it's projection because they never got to do that, and they're vicariously living through their kids, their dreams that they never got to live out, and it's disgusting stuff. But yeah.
Well, it's not much different than I think like how Munchausen by proxy syndrome is.
Yeah.
You know what that is? It's
Yeah.
like people, mothers that crave the attention of the doctor, so they get their kid, they'll make their kid sick and take them
so
to
they
the
can take
hospital,
care of them. Yeah.
like that, so that they can go there and get the sympathy and all that shit that goes along with it. It's kind of a sick little psychological condition, and I think that these people kind of have a form of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have kind of a form of that same addiction, you know, and especially when it's like your own kid. I mean, you know, without a doubt that when you dressing your little girl up like that and sending her out there doing those provocative moves and singing provocative songs and things like that, that there's men there, or at least watching it, involved or somewhat, that are lusting after those children. Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what the fuck are you doing?
Or it goes to arranged marriages because status upwardly mobile people. So hey, I got a son. Yeah, let's start talking. You got a nice little blondie girl, sweet, Georgia Peach there. Let's start planning this shit out.
I wonder how that worked out. I wonder how that worked out for Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah.
Probably not well. I didn't look.
I know her mom made plenty of. She got surgeries done and made some money, and not that it made her look, it was like putting lipstick on a pig, but yeah.
Yeah, she got an OnlyFans, I think.
Yeah, who was the girl that was brought up that way and
Jean
married?
Benet.
She had a reality show. No, well, John, that they murdered, probably ritual murder.
But she was a pageant kid. But anyway,
what was it? Yeah, exactly. No, who was the one that married the old guy? She was a reality MTV.
Nicole.
Oh, Nicole Bronson. Or
no, I almost said that too. I almost said that too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, what is now I lost it.
Is that the
Smith?
And Nicole Smith, thank you.
Yeah. I mean that's what it
took
produces.
a little minute. The gears was a little rusty and shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, well here's one. Woody Harrelson. This is him. It's just a short thing of him. He's talking about being around Trump, and he would be in those circles. This is crazy.
He wanted Jesse Ventura, trying to convince him to be his vice presidential running mate to run for the Democratic, for presidency. I sat there and I listened to this guy go on and on about everything he owned and how much money he had. But either way, he goes on, and it was so demoralizing listening to this guy that I just had to walk outside and take a deep breath for a while.
Because you're getting dirty. You're getting dirty.
I felt dirty.
Yeah,
I felt like I wanted, if there was a place I could take a shower. Yeah. He says, I'm worth about $4 billion, but I know that when I die, my children are going to fight over it. And I thought, well, okay, he said something, He's like a a boxer who does all the name calling and all the grandstanding and the self promoting, and yet he can't box.
Exactly.
Like he's got a head injury before he started boxing.
Yeah. Yep.
He's punch drunk before he did it.
Oh, this one got me pretty good. This was great. This guy made this video, I guess, in the morning yesterday, I think. This is good.
Gotta go to work today, making my coffee. Meanwhile, Somalians are stealing $8 billion from the government. Meanwhile, the Pentagon just lost $2.5 trillion. And I have no idea where it went. Ilhan Omar's had a Congress seat after committing marriage fraud and immigration fraud, tax fraud, money laundering, sending money to terrorist organizations in Somalia. And she's living high on the hog, chilling. $40 million net worth with $174,000 salary. Isn't that great, American citizens? And what is our president doing about it? Complaining about her ass on Twitter instead of raiding her house and freezing her bank accounts or deporting her, signing a executive order to get these people cooked. No, what's his useless ass doing? Bragging about how great it is to live for the middle class. No, it's not, nigga. I'm still poor. My life hasn't changed at all. What do you mean? The economy's doing amazing. America's more respected than ever. You're gaslighting us. America's more respected than ever? Oh, really? When you have a bunch of third world retards that are going to Minnesota just to steal from the government? Oh, but the country's respected? I don't respect you right now. I don't. Why has Tim Walz not been arrested already? Why? Why has he not been detained? Why have you not even made a statement about this? You're not stupid, Trump. You're not. You're not stupid, JD Vance. Why has it been crickets for the last 2 days on Twitter? You ain't got nothing to say now. Now the people are demanding action. You don't have nothing to say now. So yeah, good morning, America. Good morning. I hope you have a great Monday. Go to work. Go be a slave. Go get stolen from. Go fund terrorism. Go fund illegal aliens to go live off of your back. Have a great time today. Have an amazing Monday being a slave in your own country, actively getting replaced, and our elected officials are doing absolutely nothing about it. Isn't that great? Isn't that just amazing? I'm so happy. Stop paying taxes. Never pay taxes again. Go tax exempt on all of your forms. If you're an independent contractor, don't even bother. Don't even bother with it. What are they going to do? They can't even find $2.5 trillion from the Pentagon. Oh, it's almost like they're all stealing it. Maybe that's what it is. Stop paying taxes. F the government. They're not going to save us, and we're not going to vote our way out of this one. We have to rebel in a big way. In a big way. Look at Mexico. Look at Nepal. That's all I'm going to say.
Sof, can I add a comment onto this?
You
One
can.
more quarter said Elon Omar in 2018, her net worth was $45,000. Elon Omar in 2025, she's worth $30 million.
Holy shit.
Think about that.
Yeah, but see, all these crimes he mentioned, Sob's son, and he knows. Listen, all those crimes, those are fake crimes. They can accuse me of any of those things, and I'll beat everything that young man said. Fraud isn't even illegal in their system. There's no such thing legally of fraud. Yeah, stupid U.S.
For us it
citizens
is.
can go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not them.
just like, yeah. And there's a difference. Is it tax evasion or tax avoidance? You want send the IRS after me. I've already cleared out their supposed debt. How did I do that? Well, I'm not going to tell anybody, but you got to do your own thing.
Are you
Zero it
party
out.
poet? I'm just kidding.
No, but
Are you one of them there sovereign citizens?
Yeah. You're one of them anti-Americans.
But as far as Omar,
Where are
and,
you, some kind of goddamn communist or something? You son
Taking
of a
our
bitch.
jobs.
Well, this
Yeah.
whole thing about these QAnon retards. Oh, Obama, Biden, yeah, we're gonna get him. What is it?
Bullshit.
Treason. He's going down. He's gonna be executed. Okay, number one, how can anybody be guilty of treason to a corporation? It is not even a sovereign
Yeah.
is your government. Nobody's getting hung for treason. That's like, oh, I'm a manager at McDonald's and I took a shit in the fryer and you're going to hang me. No, you can't hang me. You can't have treason against a corporation. Show me how that works in the codes and statutes.
Why would you want to shit in a deep fryer, man?
Because everything tastes better deep fried. As far as Omar and ASC though, just like the chick, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's no different than any of them.
No,
her net worth.
I called her Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Listen, they're all on
Margarine.
IMDb.
Margarine.
They're all on IMDb.
I can't believe it's not blood up.
This is crazy.
Sorry, Eric.
Why are they all on IMDb?
Oh no shit! I know.
I ain't got one.
I saw this guy. This guy's getting down pretty hard right here.
Not yet.
I can tell he's a disillusioned. He's a disillusioned MAGA. He's a disillusioned, pissed off MAGA. That's what you're gonna see. But he's kind of calm. He's all right.
She's got a big head too.
I used to say this was.
She does. She does. You know, come on. She's a Jew. She is. She's a Jew. Look at the nose. Look at the name.
Who are you talking about?
Green.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her head is giant.
Yeah. She's also
Margarine,
got and she's got like a Jay Leno jaw. But anyway, go ahead.
Other than that, she's what they call a butterface.
Yeah, you got that right.
Everything looks pretty good.
Margarine.
I'll tell you who's the real horn toad up close. She looks good with the filters and tons of makeup.
Who's the other one that does the same thing? Who's that?
Bobart.
Christy Nome. Christy Nome.
She's AI bot.
Holy Jesus! Have you seen her? Not in
Yeah.
the light. You're like, whoa.
Crater face.
She's a horrid looking thing, man. She's got all these like blemishes or like her
face.
skin texture is really rough, and I think it's from like so much makeup all the time.
Stretching it continuously, like it's like leather face.
Is that who you were gonna say, Sav?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's Lauren Boebert? She's I don't know. She looks
all right.
right.
So wasn't she giving some guy a handy in the
yeah. The one with the glasses. Yeah.
Gets my vote. You know. She
the theater or something.
You didn't even have to do the popcorn trick on her. You know.
Put the bucket on.
Yeah. Popcorn bucket with a hole in the bottom. That's all you. But you know, they look at you funny at the counter when you ask them to butter that for you.
Yeah, I need to put that on my bucket list. Boom.
That's right. Only right here on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Are you?
The land of the free, that we were a sovereign people governed by consent, not coerced by foreign gold. But that's not true anymore, if it ever really was. We are not free. We are but bought men and broken promises. Our Congress is not a hall of deliberation. It is a well-oiled bidding floor. And we, the people, are not citizens. We are the spectacle. AIPAC writes checks and lawmakers recite its gospel. One by one, these men and women with red ties and blue suits, pearl earrings, and forced smiles march in lockstep to the rhythm of Israeli apartheid. And what's the cost of their allegiance? It's just Palestinian blood and bombed children. A land sieged into silence while Washington lights candles and calls it peace. And of our 535 elected officials in this nation, only one, Thomas Massey, has had the backbone to deny AIPAC's money. 10 others have pledged not to take it directly, but the rest are owned. Maybe not bought outright, but leased out in campaign ads and cowed into silence. The price of the office is fealty to a foreign flag. They may take oaths under our Constitution, but legislate as if Tel Aviv signs their checks. And we can call it what it is. The United States is a colony now. The American empire, once the apex predator, is now just a lapdog. And still we're told not to talk about this, not in polite company, not on the floor of Congress, not in public classrooms or newsrooms or pulpits. Because to criticize the actions of the Israeli state, and not the Jewish people, not Judaism, but the ultra-nationalist fascism of Zionism itself, is now branded anti-Semitic by design. It's not a mistake. It's the point. Because if they can blur the line between ideology and identity, then every dissent becomes hate and every truth becomes a crime. But Zionism is not a people. Zionism is a political ideology and a supremacist one at that. And the First Amendment was written for exactly this, to protect speech that challenges power, to protect speech that refuses the script. Hunter S. Thompson once said that you can tell who's in charge by who you're not allowed to criticize. Well, here we are, gagged and shackled in the land of the brave. And this is not democracy. It's hostage government. In the face of this tyranny wears a smirk, Benjamin Netanyahu. This man, this hollow, soulless relic of paranoia and vengeance, is not a leader. He's a child murderer, a tyrant, a war criminal, a wanted man in the eyes of the International Criminal Court, and still we greet him in Washington like Caesar returning from conquest. We clap, we grin, while he wipes ashes from his boots and tells us about Hamas while another hospital is reduced to rubble. Fuck that man. He is not to be feared. He is to be named. He is to be judged. And one day, when his body fails him and the lights go out, I hope he is aware. I hope the screams of every mother echo in his mind. I hope his last breath tastes like ashes and dirt, that he reaches out in fear for a hand that is not there. That he dies alone, afraid, swallowed by the darkness that he fed his empire. Because that's the truth he's always run from. He is only a man, and barely that. And no man escapes the ledger to find still death.
Spot on. Spot on. You were talking about Bobert? Somebody in the comment section said, referring to her little thing that they had in the theater, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Called it a government handout.
Yeah.
Except one couple of things he still hasn't. He seems like he's getting there, but Zion problem with the Zionist thing is that ideology did not start in Israel or with Jews per se.
Well,
Balfour Declaration was, yeah, but it's definitely a British, which is not the same as English. That's a whole nother British and Hebrew. Brit in Hebrew means covenant or contract. Ish means people. So British is
contract people.
Yeah, Bible people, the Old Testament people. That's the etymology of British. Let's see who created the belt. And you know what? The United States of America, we never got away from the feudal European Romans, and we never got away from Britain. The Crown, the Crown Corporation, East India Company, Dutch. We never got away.
No. And it's all there again. It's still the old trading company, man. The Virginia, which became the Virginia Company.
Yeah, that whole. I'm sorry,
United
people.
States. But that's what we've been. Look, this girl, she puts this right out, man. This is great.
Every time a country has stood up for its own people, the United States has asked one question: who owns the resources? And if the answer wasn't the US, the coup was coming. Over 80 foreign governments have been overthrown or destabilized by the United States. And no, most of them weren't dictatorships. Many of them were democratically elected governments until they threatened US corporate profits. The playbook is almost always the same. A country elects a leader who wants to use their land, oil, or industry for the people, which threatens the profits of the United States. So the CIA steps in, funding opposition groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, planting stories in the media, bribing generals, arming rebels, or even collapsing their economy. And the coup replaces the leader with the pro-US dictator military regime. It's almost always a massacre resulting in the deaths of millions of civilians. It's never about democracy and always about power and control. In Iran in 1953, when Mossadegh tried to nationalize his country's oil, which at the time was controlled by the British and the Americans, so the CIA launched Operation Ajax, orchestrated protests, paid off politicians, and installed the Shah. The result was 25 years of a dictatorship and torture under United States protection. Guatemala in 1954, when President Arbenz gave land back to farmers, land that belonged to the United Fruit Company, a United States corporation. So the CIA branded him a communist, ran a coup, and plunged Guatemala into a civil war that resulted in the death of over 200,000 people. Chile in 1973, Allende was overthrown in a US-backed military coup and Pinochet took power, where he tortured and killed thousands of people. Why? Because Allende wanted to nationalize copper. The Congo in 1961, Lumumba wanted Africans to control African resources. So the CIA helped orchestrate his assassination, and a brutal dictator was installed and supported for decades. There are dozens of others: Haiti, Iraq, Libya, Nicaragua, El Salvador, the Dominican Republic, Brazil, Bolivia, and beyond. This isn't about fighting tyranny, it's about profits and control. When countries try to exit the system and nationalize resources to reduce inequality, they don't just threaten profits, they threaten the idea that another world is possible. If a country like Libya can flourish, then other countries might follow, so the CIA sabotages it before it can succeed. This is why so many nations don't trust the United States, because we've been the villains throughout most of our history. But don't take my word for it, you just need to read the books they tried to bury. So comment books below, and I'll send you my forbidden reading list for free. These are the books and documentaries they never wanted you to find.
Now, let's be fair, it's just not the United States. They just got put up in post-World War II. Should we go back to Belgians, what they did in the Congo under Catholics and Jesuits, British East India Company, Boxer? Talk about China, where they had to send, who was the allies in the Chinese Opium Wars? I think it was United States Marines, of course, the British.
Mm-hmm.
I think Russia was in there. I think the Japs. Because no, goddamn it, man, we're getting that silken tea, and you fuckers are gonna be on opium. So,
Jesus,
so
we
it's
were
not. Yeah,
we were protecting the friggin' opium during the Bush administration. Literally, if you remember that thing where the news reporter was standing right next to the guy standing there, literally telling him that, yeah, there's opium right over that hill, and they were literally protecting it. It's
Look,
like, yeah,
it's not a coincidence, right? There's been a spike in the decline of heroin in the United States, and for the most part around the world, ever since we left Afghanistan. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
It's a little bit like COVID and the flu. One was hijacked.
Yep.
Eastern Europe has got, Eastern Europe, especially Russia, they're struggling big time with heroin coming into Russia too. That's so bad that they have these hybrid drugs that are like low grade heroin mixed with other crap, crocodile and all these crazy. Yeah, I mean, dude, look it up, dude. It's scary.
I know what
shit.
you're talking about. I was just joking.
Like it's so bad that
it's like it makes your skin.
Yeah, their skin.
It rots you. It rots you from the inside out. It's insane.
Yeah, let me get some of that.
Yeah, no.
Holy shit!
Anything
Why would
to get
anybody even think about it? God.
I don't know. That's the same with like people that smoke spice. It's like, dude, you can smoke marijuana, right?
I know.
Be homeless in a different state. What are you doing?
I think that all the time, man. I'm like, why in the fuck? You can smoke all the weed you want to. What's the problem?
Yeah.
You want to kick, you want to kick, you want to really trip. All right, eat a mushroom once in a while.
Right.
What the fuck? But God,
combine the two for all that matters.
If you have to start going underneath your kitchen sink to find shit to get high on, there's a problem. Hey, you mix this with brake fluid and this, that, it's like, no. You see the little skull and crossbones on the can right there? Yeah, that means don't. No.
There's an episode of, I know this is stupid, but there's an episode on The Simpsons where Peter can't have Red Bull, so he makes his own Red Bull.
Oh God!
In the kitchen, one of the fucking. It's like, it's gonna kill you. No, whatever kills you makes you stronger. Like, Jesus Christ, Peter logic.
You got
well, that's pretty much anything that the church/state says is bad for you. It's the exact opposite. Exact opposite,
and always done for profit or some other kind of shit, man. You got to think about who was it? Was it Johnson & Johnson that were the candle makers? And then they were going to be with the electric lights coming along. They was going to be saddled up with all this fucking cottonseed oil. And so they started doing, oh man, there was a whole thing about that, man. Start putting it in food and shit. This is bad, man.
Wow.
Everything. Also, they can make profits or get rid of. That's the whole reason we have gasoline cars. Okay. Because gasoline is a byproduct of kerosene manufacturing.
Yep.
Okay. Or kerosene refining. So gasoline is the toxic waste byproduct of that refining.
Yep.
And that, what a great way to get rid of it. Right. So it's partially why they had, I mean, one of the main reasons for prohibition was because it was that people had cars that were running on alcohol. They were coming up with cars that ran on alcohol. It was cheaper. You could make it a lot cheaper than you could extract it from oil, from kerosene. You didn't have to buy it from a third party. And so they introduced prohibition. Well, during that time, what came out, right? Think about it.
Yeah.
Gasoline combustion engine was popular as shit, right? Yeah.
I think this whole whenever the U.S. and its allies go after war, and it's about the oil. No, it's not. 20 years ago, I bought into peak oil concept, but then now, the earth, and it's abiotic. So it's not the oil. I mean, I'm sure that's a cover story.
Well,
of the oil companies, I think it's for the contracts, but it's not about the oil because oil's everywhere, and we don't even need oil because you can freaking make a combustion engine on water or freaking biofuel. So it's really not about oil, and this whole oil reserve. I don't know. I think it's covered.
I think it's part of multifaceted thing, okay? Because you got to look at Q Bono, okay? So yeah, we take over the oil. Let's say we get regime change, and then we get their oil back. And what's that also going to entail? That regime is going to have to support Israel because obviously Venezuela does not. This dude Maduro, he called just a couple of months ago. He said that Netanyahu was the 21st century's Adolf Hitler. And they recognize Palestine, and that's a big no-no. That's a big fucking no-no.
Was who was the guy that died that we were trying to fight against? Who was in South America? Was he in Venezuela? The chubby guy? Chavez.
Yeah, they killed him probably. He died kind of
weird cancer or something he got. Was that the same country?
I don't remember.
Hugo Chavez is Venezuela. Or was.
All right. There you go.
Led Zeppelin ahead of their time when they were talking about getting the lead out?
No shit. Check this. I thought this was pretty deep.
Who gave them the right to charge us for water and land they didn't create? We should not be paying anything for our existence on this earth. Let that sink in. Let it scrape against everything that you've been taught. Because the most insane idea humanity ever normalized is that you owe money simply for being alive. You were born here without consent on a planet you did not create, under a sky that no government ever hung, breathing air that no corporation manufactured, and somehow you start life already in debt. That's not normal. That's not moral. That is not even sane. Explain to me how land became owned. Explain how water became a bill. Explain how shelter became rent, movement became a license, and rest became something you have to earn after selling most of your waking hours. They didn't just monetize labor, they monetized survival. And the moment survival has a price tag, freedom is gone. Because if you must comply to be allowed to live, that is not choice. That is coercion, wearing a suit and calling itself civilization. And don't insult people by calling this just how the world works. That phrase is the psychological gag they stuff in your mouth before they tighten the leash. Miss enough payments and watch how fast the mask drops. They don't just take your house. They don't just shut off your utilities. They take your mobility. They take your dignity. They cage your body, all because you failed to keep up with the subscription fee for being alive. That's not order. That is a threat backed by force. Work itself is not the enemy. Contribution is natural. Humans have always built, always grown, always created, and always shared. What is evil is when contribution stops being voluntary and becomes a condition for survival. What is evil is when fear of hunger, Homelessness and medical neglect is used as the whip. And that fear is not accidental, it's engineered. It keeps you obedient, tired, and arguing with your neighbor instead of questioning the system that's draining you dry. No moral system, none, can justify charging human beings for access to the earth they were born on. If a system requires you to earn the right to exist, then that system is illegitimate at its core. And if hearing this makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the sound of a lie cracking. You're not lazy for questioning this. You're not crazy for feeling it's wrong. You're dangerous because you're starting to realize the truth. You were never meant to pay for your own existence. Thanks for listening and subscribe for more.
Fucking awesome. That's really the foundational thing.
Yep.
Pretty much.
I mean, when you think about it, you know, you could very easily build your own conveyance to get around, go to the store, go to church, get into the middle of town. You could very easily put together a house that you could build that's safe. You could very easily do a lot of things. It's just the point is that they've made you sustaining yourself illegal without them. That's the problem. I figured that out when I was way young, you know, reading ordinance books and stuff from the city and finding out that everything I ever thought of is illegal. I mean, me trying to create anything, if it burns fuel, it's illegal. I have to register it. I have to get a tag. I have to do this. I can't build it this size. It can't be this. What do you call it? I can't do it on this type of land. I realized that very early that I have all these ideas and I can, as a designer, as a person, to be able to build these things in my mind and draw it on paper and say this would totally work. And then when you look at the law pertaining to it, well, those people would come and put me in jail for building it.
Yeah, because there's no profit and there's no control mechanism over actual solutions.
There you go.
That I don't care. You can call it free market, socialist, communist, all those. No, every worldwide system, there's no profit in real solutions.
Yeah.
There's no profit in sustainability. There's no profit in durability.
Yep. And see, if they can't make that shitty product that's going to break apart for you to be in some form of slavery to go get another one, and you built something that lasted as long as your life went on, well, who makes the profit from that? See? So everything is in that way. When you look at everything, I'm not being negative either. I'm just pointing out the fact that you could easily sustain yourself on way less money than you make.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They've made it illegal to do so. There you go.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, he forgot one thing. I mean, I'm way more free where I live right now in this geographical location called Cambodia, but I have to keep this fucking visa thing, and I go from this place called Kampot over to this mythical border between Cambodia and Vietnam, and I'm crossing this land border, and I'm looking at the birds flying over, and there's this water buffalo that's kind of on this Vietnam farmer side and connected.
They're traveling freely.
Yeah, but these human beings, they just magic papers, and it's amazing.
Magic papers and invisible lines.
Yeah.
I'm not. Listen, I know that people, geography.
Like a more sophisticated game of it's hot. The floor is lava. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, there are natural borders that separate people. You know, a mountain range, and you got different growing seasons in your culture. And I'm not against that. Well, Eric, you're some kind of globalist. You're some kind of new. No, I live in reality. But these and they're called political borders. They have nothing to do with nature. They're called political borders.
Right. They're not natural. Well, and there are instances though where they use like markers of boundaries by water. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
a mountain range, a lake, a stream.
Lines, some state lines or even rivers.
The DMZ.
Yeah, the DMZ.
Yeah.
Into the mysterious North Korea.
Right. Oh no, he stepped over. Oh, shoot him.
Yeah, right.
but that's amazing. Yeah,
should have got him back then.
Why do you have to pay to exist here?
Yeah.
Good question.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
Oh,
You know,
well,
and they make it like it's illegal. They make it illegal in some places to, you know, you can't be off grid.
Yeah.
Oh
you can't
yeah,
collect,
I saw
you can't collect
rainwater.
rainwater.
Yep,
I know, ain't that crazy?
I saw a thing a few days ago where the city tried giving this guy shit because he's a quarter of a mile away from where any of the services was. So he built his own solar system. He collects rainwater. He has his own systems in place that are completely safe. They don't pollute anything. They don't hurt anybody. They're not costing anybody money. And the city said, "Oh, you didn't follow these rules. Well, we're going to fine you like $2,400 a
Yeah.
day."
How do you prove something like that, though? It's like, I just happen to have a barrel sitting there. I can't help that the rain fell into it.
Well,
You know?
this has nothing to do with the federals. I mean, look in the United States. You can't have chickens in your own homestead. Well,
Yeah, I
why?
can't
Oh,
now
because
here.
your neighbor. So I live over here where there's fucking right down the road. It's in the middle of
Everybody's
town.
got
Everybody's
chickens.
here,
Yeah.
and magically there are no police here.
Noise ordinances.
Yeah, no need for them.
Well, I mean, once in a while, but I mean, unlike people are crazy in the most of these Western countries.
Yeah,
namely the cops.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I see it every day.
Explain to me. There's no such thing as highway. Oh, Eric, that's because it's a third world country. Oh, what does that even mean? And where'd you get that term from?
Right. Right.
Meaning, if you have a dirt road, you're some kind of hillbilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it means. It's called. Oh, what do you mean you don't have a Bluetooth house? You must be a third worlder.
Listen, the United States is, if you want to really get to it, is at best a third world nation. I mean, we just drink our own Kool-Aid. We believe all this nonsense about we're the greatest place in the world and all that shit. Look at, man, our cities are in decay. Our infrastructure's fucked up. I defy you to drive 100 miles and not run across an area that's fucking slowed down by some kind of goddamn orange barrels and construction. And dude,
if it's not one of the cities where they film the TV shows like Vegas or Hollywood, or maybe parts of New York.
No, even around Hollywood, Hollywood's crumbling apart, man. It was looking scummy fucking 5 years ago, man. 10 years ago.
Cali's really bad.
There's not many places that don't look like a fucking shithole.
Yeah, speaking of Kool-Aid, you never hear any jokes about Jim Jones. The punchlines are too long.
Yeah.
That was free. That was easy pickings.
I like that one. I did see a meme though that had that scene from all that with all them people laying on the ground and the Kool-Aid thing coming out.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, how is it that roughly in the 70s, 80s, they got all these more, let's say, suburban residential areas? Started out with wells, but somehow the town, municipality, maybe the county, no, the law say, yeah, you got to get hooked up to the main municipal water. Now you can't. No, well, you got to get rid of those wells. Can't have them. And then, from what I understand, how much does it cost to drill a well on land if you're permitted to, if you're zoned properly? And would anybody like to know how much I can drill a well here for?
Free?
No, maybe $300.
Really?
Because you got to get a contractor that's got the heavy equipment, which they have here. Maybe not the late, but yeah, I mean, if you're the insurance companies, you can't even get somebody to fucking cut your lawn because I'm afraid. What if he slips and falls? Like, what?
Yeah.
No, you need a DOT. You need a license.
And, do they have insurance? Do they have the proper gear? We're going to have to call the city, and that's $2,000. So you show us your license. Do you have an ID?
Yeah.
Sign this waiver.
Oh, this little gay boy.
Let me see your birth certificate. Well, this the story is what I think is cool. This kid kind of I don't like his face. Anyways, this is funny because this has got to enrage the shit out of Trump. Watch this.
This is the best story in politics right now. A South Park writer bought the website domain for TrumpKennedyCenter.com. And let's just say Donald Trump would not love what the website looks like right now. The funny thing is, Toby Morton, the South Park writer, actually bought the domains TrumpKennedyCenter.org and .com back in August because he knew that Donald Trump was eventually going to put his name on the building. And this is what the website looks like right now. If you go to TrumpKennedyCenter.org, it just says a national institution devoted to power and loyalty. So on first glance, it looks kind of normal, right? But then you look around a little bit more, you scroll down a little bit, and their next event, according to this website, is ringing in the new year with a performance by the Epstein Dancers. Also, if you keep scrolling around, there's a logo for the building, which is a blank, 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 redacted Trump, blank, 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 13-year-old girl. I know MAGA's not going to like that one. They also write here at the Trump Kennedy Center, tradition is preserved, narratives are curated, and performances are elevated beyond mere art. What is remembered matters. What is omitted matters more. We invite you to experience culture as authority, pageantry as truth, and excellence as defined by those in power. It's just so funny. So shout out to Toby Morton for scooping this up all the way back in August, having that hindsight, because this is great. You should check out the website. I think it's funny.
I think it's hilarious because I can't believe, they knew well enough that he was going to end up trying to put, he's trying to put up like an Arc de Triomphe, but having it called the Arc de Trump in honor of Trump in DC.
The funny thing, all over the Capitol there in Iowa, because that's where they're having the 250th birthday or whatever thing.
Yeah.
They had, it was just littered with all that. I got pictures of it. 250th birthday of America,
Yeah, that's right. 2026 will be 250 years.
We think the United States corporation is making it that long?
No.
Apparently the news is these blatant piracy, stealing these ships in international waters. Apparently China and Russia are like, yeah, okay, we're sending our ships because they were doing Panama flag ships. Now they're doing Chinese, Russian. So let's see if the United States, go after a Chinese ship. Because, well, Panama we know is kind of a fudgy, weird little zone there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go after a Chinese ship or a Russian ship go ahead. So apparently the ships are going unmolested because, I don't know.
So I found that meme that you were talking about with the Kool-Aid man. I threw it in the private chat. It's the bottom two links. Jesus.
Ooh, yeah, right when we were talking about that, guess who showed up in chat? The Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. That's so bad. That's so bad. Let me share that real quick. I'm gonna have to get off here in a minute.
No, you're not. I came in late. You got to stay late. I'm just.
We got 6 more hours to go.
Driving.
I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Probably not a full day. I don't know. We'll see. We got to put up another door.
I'm spent. I don't really want to be sitting down anymore.
What's that?
I said I'm spent from driving anyway. I was just.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Maybe I'm nitpicking, but how do grown people how is it okay to market junk to young minds, i.e. cereal, Kool-Aid, Tang? How is that even okay? Bill Hicks, is there anybody, you ever watch is there anybody here in marketing? Kill yourself. And he goes through the whole thing, how disgusting you are. And it's a great clip. I have it, but he's like, yeah, hi, honey, what'd you do? Oh, yeah, we made arsenic childhood food. Good night.
Some people just don't care. Some people don't care. They'll if it betters them, they don't. I mean, if it they make something from it and it makes their life better in their minds. Everybody is just a stepping stone. Some people have that mentality, and some people say, you know what, I don't want to do that, and I don't care if I'm broke. I don't care. I got my soul. Some people just don't care. They'll step on anybody for their advantage.
That's what I studied in college, was basically branding and marketing, and I decided I was going to take what I learned and do it for just small So I'm like working it for these food companies and this junk cosmetics. Like I wanted no part of it. So I
mean,
did I have
I know-
to maybe do something that was questionable? But I always thought about it, like, okay, do I really want this as a client? Do I want to work on this project? I guess that's why I was never successful.
Yeah, same thing with me. I kind of seen the ways that the things that I would have had to do, and I kind of thought about, like, you know what, this doesn't give me a lot of options to say, you know what, I don't feel like doing this because I'm going to be beholden to some person who's going to dictate to me what I'm going to be doing. And I said, well, this ain't going to work. There's no point of going into debt to do what I'm what I'm training to do if I don't have any control over what I'm actually doing. So what's the point of doing it? So I just said, okay, well, I'll just do this for myself, or I'll do it on the side, and then I don't have to worry about anybody telling me what to do. So that's kind of what it did.
That's why I'm starting in OnlyFans. I'm sick of all this.
That's it.
I'm
Give it
taking
up.
the easy route.
Yeah, and that question about marketing to small minds, I don't like to say children or kids, but anyway. And no, I'm not trying to suggest that we need lawmakers to make it illegal and regulate it. I'm just thinking, why grown adults?
Yeah, I mean, why
find
can't
it
you
okay?
regulate yourself? Why can't you have your own moral compass? There is no moral compass. We showed that thing the other night. Those daycares, so that they didn't have to mind after the kids so much. They were putting these fucking sleep stickers on them that are like a transdermal narcotic.
Oh, really?
They're a sleep aid. And they were sticking them on these kids, and these people are picking up their kids, and they're sleeping and falling and fucking sleep in the car and shit on the way home and everything. You're like, man, this kid's acting different. What's up?
Well, because then they don't have to deal with them.
Stickers. Yeah.
It's like
one of the
giving
kids came home with one of the stickers on them, and you can buy these, I guess, in the store.
It's like giving them NyQuil or whatever too when they don't really need it.
Robitussin. Yeah.
same difference.
Give it some of that tussin.
Put some tessin on it.
Basically, the idea for purple drink.
Yeah.
Basically, what it is. I mean, some people just that way, man. I grew up with people that I grew up with some people I grew up with that became that, and they didn't. Their attitude was, I don't give a shit. I'm making money. I don't care.
Oh,
feel stupid. Some people like that.
I wanted to play this before I get out of here too, because this is pretty fucking. This is bad, man. This guy. What's the fucking response from the White House to this? Everybody's out here talking about this shit and ain't heard dick out of them. He's just over there kissing Bibi's ass, man.
They ain't got no brains.
They ain't got what?
They ain't got no brains.
God, they ain't that different.
Hey, 48-year-old men, do you know, who invite 14-year-old girls to their parties? Jeffrey Epstein did that. And so did the 48-year-old Donald Trump. The New York Times reports that Donald Trump held parties at his home in Florida where he invited 14-year-old girls. Tina Davis, who worked with Ford models in the mid-1990s, said in an interview that her Ford booker instructed her to get dressed up and attend a Mar-a-Lago party in late 1994. Just 14 and new to Miami, she was told to dress sexy, according to her mother, Sandra Coleman, who had accompanied her to Florida. 8 or 9 other models came along on the bus. All the girls were really young, Ms. Coleman recalled in an interview. Some of them could have been in training bras. When they arrived at Mar-a-Lago, Ms. Coleman said her daughter was promptly handed a glass of champagne. She took it away, but waiters kept offering more. Each time one of the middle-aged men at the party approached her daughter, Ms. Coleman would walk over and introduce herself as Ms. Davis's mother. During a trip to the bathroom, they ran into Mr. Trump's new wife, whom they had met earlier. Marla Maples clasped her hands. Ms. Coleman recalled and looked her in the eye. Whatever you do, do not let her around any of these men, and especially my husband, she told Ms. Coleman. Protect her. 14 years old, invited to Donald Trump's home, handed champagne repeatedly. unlike her former husband, Donald Trump, Marla Maples, Donald Trump's second wife, responded to New York Times inquiries about that story. The New York Times reports Ms. Maples denied making the comment, "I would always protect young women in any way I could," she said, "but I am sure I didn't specifically say that about my daughter's father." Donald Trump's second wife, Marla Maples, received a substantial financial settlement in her divorce from Donald Trump. The Times reports Mr. Epstein was a frequent guest at Mar-a-Lago parties. A woman who said Mr. Epstein trafficked her in the late 1990s and early 2000s recalled attending at least a half a dozen of the parties beginning when she was 17. She told the New York Times that the invitations she received when she was 17 were, quote, to be Donald Trump's guest at Mar-a-Lago. According to one invitation she shared with the Times, the parties were open bar and no one checked IDs. She said Mr. Trump was always all over them, she recalled. A 20-year-old model who attended a Trump party at Mar-a-Lago told the New York Times, "I had a glass of champagne and I immediately felt not well," Ms. Brock recalled, adding, "I thought my drink had been spiked." According to the New York Times reporting, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein attended parties at each other's homes. The Times reports one of the women, who has never before spoken publicly about the experience, told the Times that Mr. Epstein had coerced her into attending 4 parties at Mr. Epstein's home. Mr. Trump attended all 4, the woman said. At 2 of them, she said Mr. Epstein directed her to have sex with other male guests. In an email among those released by Congress in November, Mr. Epstein boasted that he gave Mr. Trump a 20-year-old woman whom Mr. Epstein dated in the 1990s. In a 2010 deposition, Mr. Epstein was asked if he had ever socialized with Mr. Trump with girls under 18, and he did more than 3 dozen, as he did more than 3 dozen times during the deposition. Mr. Epstein invoked his constitutional right not to answer. At one of those parties, here's how Jeffrey Epstein introduced himself. Quote, "I'm Jeffrey. I'm Don's best friend."
So much for I hardly knew that guy. Are you guys still talking about that guy? Blah, blah, blah.
New York Times, fake news.
Yeah, there you go.
It's interesting. This is, so he's this guy that was narrating. He's talking about 18-year-olds and 14, but also, 48-year-olds, 18. I don't know. I mean, who am I to say it? But I can tell you this is not unique to men in power. I live here in Cambodia. There's a couple streets with, let's say, girl bars. And there's an expat community of a bunch of old white men, British, Australian, American.
Got to get them lady drinks.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
No, not at all.
And
no
it's
idea.
not just, I'm not blaming it on white men because, of course, the police are involved and all that. This is universal. It goes across class. It goes. It's a. I don't know. 60-year-old guy with a 16, maybe 14. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, guys. But I don't know. Is that creepy? 67-year-old guy with a 16-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, sex tourism, especially in Asia, was huge. I think up until the last 15 years, they've been caught in that shit big time.
No. Thailand especially. They're very.
I mean, think about this. You're like 14 years old, and you're some grandma all grinding herself up on you and shit, man. I mean, what would that do to you?
Because usually the Khmer people that work in the sex industry, they start booming. Your average Thai woman by 20 has got at least 3 kids by a local guy. They start booming around 13, 14 here, and it's I don't know. I mean, why am I going to come here and say, hey, you Cambodia people, you got to tell your kids to not fuck until 16 because that's the way it is, and or maybe 18 because some government they know the best way. I don't know. I don't know.
I can.
I mean, I even think about these old celebrities and shit. They got a real young wife and they have a kid with them, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna be dead before the kid fucking graduates high school. What the
Tony
fuck?
Curtis.
Yeah.
Tony Curtis was having kids. He was 80.
Yeah.
His wife was like 28.
Al Pacino just had one not too terribly long ago.
Yeah, I heard about that one too.
I can see.
There's a lot of couples here.
I can see soon the government, not in the not too distant future, lowering the age of consent to try and bypass getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
doubt
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like way low, like 13,
13,
14 or something crazy.
I
like
had
that.
I had great aunts that were Connecticut, Massachusetts. They were married at 14. It used to be that way not long ago. 14, 15.
Yeah, but not to an old dude.
No, maybe a few. Usually, it was like maybe 14 female, maybe 17, 18 boy. Start working
Yeah.
farm. We need
A little bit different there,
D. Martin corrected me. Tony Randall, not Tony Curtis. Tony Randall.
That's who I pictured when you said Tony Curtis, and then
I don't know why.
Odd couple dude, yeah.
Yeah.
But what about George Burns? You remember that character?
Nothing
He
gets past
lived
the
at
chat.
100. He was always chasing tail and martinis in Vegas and stuff.
Who was that? Woody Allen.
Yeah, Woody Allen married his own stepdaughter.
Oh, Woody.
Well, listen, guys, I'm going to have to shut it down. I got to get off here and get to bed.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, always good, man. Take care.
Right on. Thanks, everybody, for coming on tonight. Everybody that showed up. Regular Tuesday night. Yay.
Ciao.
You get a chance, I'll put that link down in the chat again. This is a great movie, and I highly suggest go off and watch it if you got time. It's an Eddie Murphy movie. This guy ends up going into Congress, and it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good because he ends up fucking them hard.
Give us a like on that way out. Good to see everybody in chat.
Yes, sir. Hit that like button. Don't forget to share, subscribe to my Rumble channel as well. And Gubby, thanks for coming up. D-Man, as always, love having you two up
Good to
here
see you, brother.
all the time.
Thanks
And
for having me.
as we always like to say, don't forget, the Lord loves a working man. Don't never, ever, ever trust Whitey. See your doctor and get rid of him because he'll probably kill you. And if you heard the shot, it probably wasn't meant for you. We'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind. Good night, everybody.